It plugged up, Zim?
Yeah, it plugged up. Just turn it on.
Oh, okay.
Come back home. Okay. All right. So that's Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom, worldwide family. All those that's tuning in today. Praise be to this glorious Sabbath day Most High has provided us with. So y'all know how we do it. Look like it's all family in here. We turn toward Holy Jerusalem wherever we at on planet Earth. We face Holy Jerusalem. Men uncover their head, women cover their head when praying or prophesying within the assembly. We hold our hands up high. 1 Tim chapter 2, verse 8. Got our instructions, our order on how to pray. And now we go ahead and get our prayer on so that we may bring forth understanding on this Sabbath day.
All praise.
All praise. And shouts out to our brother and sister, brother Ariel and sister Abia. Sister Abia's Earth Day, so they take a little time off to enjoy themselves. Shouts out to y'all wherever y'all at. Let's get it.
Happy Earth Day, sis.
Psalms 53, with the Most High's permission, in the name of His only begotten Son.
Yes, sir.
The fool has said in his heart, there is no power. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good, but look down from heaven upon the children of men, to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek Yahweh. Every one of them is gone back. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Who eat up my people as they eat bread. They have not called upon Yahweh. There were they in great fear, where no fear was. For Yahweh had scattered the bones of him that encamped against them. Thou hast put them to shame, because Yahweh has despised them. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion, when Yahweh bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Hallelujah! Say that!
That's Psalm 53.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all, we're going to get right to it. Not going to belabor the point. Got a few scripts to hit. And so I want to be able to cover most of this, y'all. So we're going to tell you where in the script to just continue reading on. But we want to get into it. And something I want to really bring forth this class. I did a class back in the day on it. And today's class is called Spiritual Holy Conception. And, you know, you ask yourself, well, if it's holy, it's already spiritual. No, what I want to separate is the conception of Messiah. And what we're talking about is his mother and how she was made pregnant. So we look up any word in the Hebrew concordance, Greek concordance, wherever you want to look. Conception means to make pregnant. Now, we only get through all of the flesh and stuff. We're not talking about the after product. What we're talking about is the beginning product. And the Messiah's taught us to go back to the beginning to solve all of the questions. You know, like a lot of times you have a lot of the answers is in the back of the book. A lot of answers is in the back of the book in Revelations that talks about him. But if you start at the beginning where the summary is at, in most books. It gives you a rundown of what you expect so that you may be able to go to the end of the book and get your answers if you have an open book test. But you always got to start at the beginning. Every book will begin to tell you, this is a summary of what you're about to read. So at the beginning, y'all, we want to get some clear understanding of this holy spiritual conception. And we're going to deal with men who had the same thing involved in their life, because we have some teachers out there that teach the Messiah's conception was the same as Isaac's, was the same as Samson's, was the same as John the Baptist. And we're going to get a little bit into that today to straighten that matter out, as well as like some will use the same thing. They'll use it in Isaiah where it says, their saviors with an S on the end, like plural, shall come upon the earth. That ain't got nothing to do with the Savior. Right. And the virgin birth. Many virgins at the time, but y'all, we're going to take a walk today and also the Proviangela in the book of James, because Levi Raphael called in last week and the question was asked, how old was Mary? So we're going to get all of that cleared up today, y'all, and we're going to get some understanding. As we're going through this book, we're going to see also that how it compares with law that makes this book authentic. Because we got some naysayers out there that won't look at any other doctrine outside the Bible, but they'll twist their lips and say somewhere it's a book that say Adam had earthly parents.
Somewhere out there.
It ain't in no other writing around these parts, but it's in some other writing, but yet you don't trust Luke that's in the Bible. Yeah. So y'all, we're going to dispel all of the trickery today. Y'all, we're going to go over some things and we're going to hit on some subjects, because we're talking about a holy conception, which is going to include supernatural births. This lesson is going to include the eunuch and the barren. And usually the eunuch is focused on the man. And usually barren is focused on the women. So this class will cover all of that as well, because conception won't take place with both of those happening. And we're going to get some clear understanding of what the Most High say about a dry tree, or individuals, that women that are barren, and which is a reproach to them. Y'all, we're going to see it on both halves with the birth of Mary coming in, because her father didn't have no children. And that was a stain on men not to have any children. But Messiah didn't have no children, and it ain't recorded that Paul had any children. So we're going to see it's not a stain on you. And we're going to also get into some points where an individual was conceived, and the term, thank you, brother, the term harlot was used. So we're going to get into a little bit of understanding that where that term, what it truly means, if a woman found herself in that position, because there's a lot of wolves out here that'll trick a woman. And you run that smooth Billy D. Williams talk and get in them and then leave them. So now they had sex without a husband, so you can't give them the title of a wife because there's no husband there. So it's a title to let a man know that, okay, this woman has had sex without a husband. If that's practiced, then it becomes a problem. Does it happen on occasion? Yes, it does. And we're going to get a couple examples, y'all, that where you're going to see no blood sacrifice for it, no punishment for it. It's just things that happen because a lot of things are going on, y'all. And all this is a wicked and adulterous generation that are setting people up. Men and women are fighting this struggle since the garden. So, y'all, we're going to hit a couple things today to get all of that cleared up. We're going to talk about wicked conception. With bestiality, you'll bring forth in the conception. We're going to hit a couple scriptures on that. We're going to get into some Genesis 6, talking about the mixture of kind that causes conception to make pregnant. Y'all, that's what we're dealing with today. We're not going to do that trickery of these camps out here to just try to run to Hebrews and different things. We're going to clear that up too, because we don't leave no stones unturned down here. The first thing we do is go to what they say.
Yes, sir.
Move that out of the way. We unload that gun. Didn't have number blanks in it anyway.
That's right.
But we're going to unload it just so they won't just be squeezing the trigger for no reason.
Making a bunch of noise.
Click, 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 click. So y'all, what's that license? Free. Yeah. So y'all, we're gonna get right to it. So the first thing we want to do, y'all, is get into Genesis 1:26, and we want to just show the Messiah set apart conception versus totally set apart from all the other supernatural births. And then y'all, we'll start to go into them. We won't leave them out, and it's a very important lesson. We're gonna go into the supernatural births. Then we're going to go into the dry tree and when a woman or a man, because guess what? The first commandment was to be what? Fruitful. Well, if you can't do that, does that make you break the commandment? What happened with your conception that either your eggs is lacking or your juice is lacking?
Juiceless. He's juiceless.
No. So, and then we go, like I say, we're going to get into the other parts of that. And then we're going to get into the questionable, right? We're going to get into the questionable conceptions, y'all. And does that make the offspring bad? Y'all, we hear a little bit of Deuteronomy 23 to make it understood that there's certain things that has to be set apart supernaturally. They must be unblemished. They must be unblemished. And when we get into this book of James, y'all see where Mary was chosen. She was a handmaid of the Lord. She went through a process that basically it didn't make her the Messiah. It didn't make her to be worshipped, because we see all the scriptures say, who's my mother, who's my brother? The family that takes hold to the word of the Most High. You know, and then it say, blessed be the paps that you suck. He said, yeah, rather blessed are those that keep the commandments of the Lord and do them. So he leaves no blessing out just because that was my earthly mother. Let's get it understood. That don't give you no way out. Because you know what we be saying? Well, see, my mama wasn't like this, mama. I got an excuse on Judgment Day. You know, my mama was this way. So all of that is moved out of the way, y'all. So we get a clear understanding. So y'all, let's just start this in Genesis 1:26. Y'all, we're just going to hit them quickly. We're going to bounce right to Luke 3:38. And Micah 5:1-2, y'all. But we'll get them as we go along, y'all. But we're going to hit this, y'all. We're going to get right to it, and we're going to move along. And we're going to get right into the Proviangelon of James. Brother Tubai has the one authentic book that he'll be putting it up for the camera, which will probably be better if you watch it anyway, or if you can Google it really quickly. But you know, it's going to describe the birth of Mary. It's going to describe her parents' situation. It's going to describe how old she was when she started to walk, and why Joseph was chosen. And it's going to also show some Numbers 5, the jealousy law, what really happened. People don't know Joseph had to go before the priests about Mary. That's right. They had to give them the Numbers 5 treatment. Drink that water. We need to see if y'all lying. Right. So we're going to get into all that today, y'all. So no need to belabor it. Let's get to it. Genesis 1:26. And the only reason I'm going here is to show the set-apart conception of the first man that we know on this earth as Adam, that this was supernatural, because how they made him, how he was conceived with the earth, was a supernatural process. Go ahead, give me a little bit of that, AZ.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness.
See, so it's after their image and their likeness in the Godhead of Elohim. That's what he said. So that's a supernatural making. He said, we're going to make them like us. There was no people on earth at this time. So it was nothing to compare it to on earth. So get on waiting here with that Hebrews you'll try to use in this point. We're talking about the beginning. Like us, and this is talking from the heaven. We need to make him like that he's able to dwell amongst us. No rotten flesh here. Read some more.
And let him have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
So what is this giving him? What type of power is this? Is this what we would consider world rulership? Mm-hmm. Because it said over the entire earth, didn't it?
Yes.
So this first man had power over the entire earth, over the sea, over everything. Y'all, that's the reigning world king.
Yes, sir.
And the priesthood is Melchizedek. Let's read some more.
Verse 27. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them.
So when Adam and Eve were created, they were created in the form of the Most High. So for a woman to be taken from man, there had to be an image of a woman that the Most High patterned this after and brought it unto the man. So we know there's male and female around, but there's nowhere, under no circumstances, in any scripture saying there's a woman up there or a mother of Christ. The Holy Spirit is given as a sign or a symbol of a woman because it's so nurturing. Women nurture the young. So the Holy Spirit is the nurturer. The Most High called it, Christ said, I'm going to send you back the nurturer, the comforter.
The comforter.
Who's going to soothe all your problems like nobody, because a grown man just can't go and lay his head on his daddy's chest and cry. It's going to upset his daddy. Oh, get yourself together. That's right. Cut all that out. Wipe them tears from your eyes. See, a mother ain't gonna do that. She gonna cuddle. So y'all, we understand that we're not in no way, shape, or form saying there's a doctrine that go kind of left field when it starts to talk about wisdom. But wisdom ain't never described because it's described as a he in certain places as well. So which side you gonna choose? So let's read a little bit more. Where you at on that?
Verse 28.
What it say?
And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
And replenish the earth and subdue it.
And to do what?
Subdue it. And have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So we can hold that, y'all, and we see clearly what power Adam and Eve had on planet Earth before sin entered into them.
Dominion.
So y'all, right here, let's just jump right down to once again Messiah, where we want to show him before, because a lot of these camps like to show him after, in the middle, way down the line, and not reverencing his majesty in this Genesis 1:26. Let's get a little bit of that Micah 5 verse 1 and 2. Because it all had to line up, had to be born in Bethlehem. Y'all, we're going to roll through these really quickly. I ain't going to talk as much as I usually do.
My bad, I ain't mean to laugh.
Yeah, you laughed out loud.
I didn't mean to do that. That was strictly supposed to be inside.
Oh, but you did that, yeah, like. Let's get it, y'all.
Go ahead, Elijah.
No, that's you, bro. Get to pass on down. Oh, you need it?
Go, I got it.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Micah chapter 5, verse 1.
What it say?
Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with the rod upon the cheek.
So we know the Messiah, David was never smited on the cheek, so we know the Messiah had his beard ripped off. And they left hands and right hands. If y'all ever seen the movie, what Mel Gibson do? Passion of Christ. And that was a watered down version of what happened to the Messiah. You will see people's hands just come out of the crowd, just like anything else. You see people moving through a crowd and somebody try to take your right hand and just come in there and hit you in the jaw. Some reached over and just tore his beard off. Isaiah 53. Out of all the people we're talking about today in supernatural, that never happened to Abraham like that. That never happened to Samson. Never happened to Zechariah or John the Baptist like that. John got his head cut off, but what we're talking about, he didn't get his head cut off to bear the sins of men.
It was ridiculed to death.
Yes, sir. Say that again, Elijah.
He wasn't ridiculed
To death. Absolutely. So we want to keep this clear, and we want to keep this on the set apart Holy Conception. There is Holy Conception, but then there's the set apart one that sets apart this virgin from all other virgins. That set these things apart. Yeah, it's going on around us, but then you know when it's supernatural. There's there's gift. A person is let's say he's talented. Then there's a person that's gifted, you know, or you may say, yeah, he's pretty good at what he do. And then there's God-given talent. Yeah. It's a total different thing. You know when you see it. You know, and you always see an example. You look at like certain events and you like, that can't be taught with any paperwork in a gym, nowhere. That cannot be taught. That's supernatural. Because there's no way to teach it. It's just in an individual. How do you teach a man how to run 100 yards, 110 yards in less than 10 seconds? See, that has to be formed, because you can teach them form, but all that's going to do is just increase the speed. But if you run a 10-second 40-yard dash, you slow as hell. You ain't going to never make the NFL.
10 seconds.
You may be faster than everybody in this room, but out there, when you start running, the play is going to be 50 yards down the field. That's the difference in that speed and power in that game. Y'all, and they got the best of everybody that's gifted on the field. Some, and y'all, you know it's a gift because it ain't, a lot of it ain't up here, but when you get one can use it up here, that takes it to a whole another level. And we know it's supernatural because some at that point can't read or write.
I can do it talented.
Take for instance Dexter Manley for the Washington Redskins. Was a terror on the football field, but could not read his name in block letters and playing professional football. He said he was sitting in the locker room and just had a Wall Street Journal open like this. Wasn't reading nothing, just after a few minutes he knew how long it take. Okay, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 41 seconds. Okay, flip the page now. See, because he figured that's how long it should take you to scan over a page. And he flipped the page, everybody like, oh, he must be into stockbroker. He couldn't tell you what the front page of that was saying.
Faking it till he make it.
Faking it till he make it, yes sir. So let's get right into that, Mike. Let's get it.
Verse 2.
What it say?
But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from old.
From where?
From of old. From everlasting.
See, so his going forth is from old, is from everlasting. This where he got started from everlasting. He didn't get started in Bethlehem, so to speak. It was from everlasting. So this separates, but he got to come out of Judah. He's got to come out of David. So, you know, we understand in the fleshly part of the physical side of this conception. But it said this was way before David was even thought of. Before Jesse was thought of. Before Obed was thought of.
Before the world was.
That's right, bro. So let's move on, y'all. We're going to move really quickly. Luke 3:38. And y'all, we're just getting right to the point of conception. Y'all, and y'all ask anybody, why was the angel there speaking to Joseph? It wasn't about the after effects of the baby being made. It was talking about who was involved with the pregnancy.
You know you jumped the gun, boy.
You know you jumped the gun. Like when you know when you knocked on the window there, boy, you know you messed up. No, we gonna see if that's what happened. Luke 3:38. And y'all, what I'm just getting to is to set apart, because it's gonna get down to who Adam was and what his title, because there's only two men on earth that's been technically been called the Son of God. They're sons of men. Prophets were called all the time, but when we talk about Son of God, angels are called that, but they're sons, but then they're the Son of the Most High. That an angel ain't never been put in that position of power and authority like this. Go ahead, where we at? 338. Yes, sir. And y'all, this is just the lineage, finishing off the lineage back to Adam. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 3, verse 38, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of Elohim.
See, so it says Adam was the son of Elohim. Now this saying it didn't name no other father, did it?
Nope.
So this individual talking about there's some book out there remains to be seen. You running your history like this, and yet you won't name the book until you're gonna leave it out there in the wind. I ain't going looking for it. Don't have to. Let somebody else go look for it and find it. Ain't my work to go do that, because I'm gonna stick with what's in the record from Genesis to Revelation and the other books that it point to. So y'all, just wanted to hit that on right there. Let's get that Matthew chapter 1, going 18 through 25. And y'all, what we're just getting back to is just the beginning of things. And then we're going to jump right into 1 Corinthians 15:45. And we're just going to show these same two individuals. When somebody start comparing the Messiah to King Solomon, when they compare him to David, and they don't compare him to how Adam was made, because that's what the Bible does. Men go compare him to somebody else. The Bible comparing him to one individual.
Right.
And he was before that individual.
1 Corinthians 15.
Yes, sir. We're going now. Let's get it. Where we at? We're going to Matthew 1:18 right now.
Yes, sir. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Now the birth of Yeshua HaMashiach was on this wise.
Was on this what?
This wise.
See, and y'all, this is saying on this wisdom. Right. If you got to understand it, it's saying, y'all, it's finna be about something above your understanding. Shalom, y'all. You know, this is on this wise. When it's telling you, y'all, it's saying it's something out of the ordinary finna take place here. And on his birthday, I should say, is on this wise. Now, being that we have the Feast of Dedication coming up, the Festival of Lights, is all tied into this conception. Because we're going to get into why did it bring up John the Baptist and his mother supernatural birth in the 6th month. And him doing in the temple, and it mentions the time that he was in there was his course. All this will point you toward the birth of Messiah. Do we know the actual day? No. Do we know around the time? According to a lot of scripts, we can pinpoint the time he was born. But just like we don't know the day of his coming, or the first one, we don't know the exact day of the second one. We can pinpoint the times, and we can get right down to the week. But can't nobody stand up and say the day and hour. But we're dealing with dedication and rededication of the temple. And Messiah was rededication of the temple. He became the temple. And we're like an example of him. So when you see dedication, it's the same thing that we're going over when they rededicated the temple to righteousness. So we rededicated Messiah, because it says in Revelation, the Father and the Son are the what of it? It says they are the temple of it. So they are the guiding light to this. So now we got another Festival of Lights coming up on the 25th day of the Gregorian calendar of December. Boo. Now the Festival of Lights, say that again. Boo. Boo. Okay. Then we have the Festival of Lights that's on the Hebrew calendar, that's given to us to observe from the sacrifice, not sacrifice, I should say, from the study of the moon and its cycle hosts all our feast days. Sirach 43, Leviticus 23rd chapter, it tells us they're only to be used for this symbol, for us to understand when a feast day should come in. So we got the Feast of Dedication coming in here shortly, starting on the 22nd of the Gregorian calendar, December. Now, that dedication to the temple in Maccabees, that was on the 20th and 5th day of Kislev. So when somebody asks, was Messiah born on December the 25th? The question I always ask them, are you talking live birth or are you talking conception? See, that'll make the wheels turn, y'all. So it's probably making some of y'all wheels turn right now. Daniel Sneaker saying he was born on this. I ain't said nothing. I'm talking about conception. Could it have been born on the 20th and 5th day of Kislev? His conception. But as we get through some of this today, y'all, we're going to see if it was possible that they're celebrating a live birth versus a conception of birth, which they can't prove. So they got everybody chasing a live birthday. He said, honor my death, the resurrection, the rebirth, so to speak. But it's still then that form of birth, not really the child being born on planet Earth, because nobody know the day. Every scripture in here say, King Herod said, 2 years and under, I know I can get them in. Because all the people saying it's at least been between now and 2 years. So kill every child of that age. Now, if you had a child yesterday and the order to go out, guess what? That child get killed too. Yeah, but the baby only 1 day old, it can't be him. Kill him anyway.
He couldn't pinpoint.
2 on down, kill them all.
He just couldn't pinpoint him.
Now think about this, and then you get into Matthew 18, go get into it, says, isn't this the prophecy come to pass where Jeremiah spoke of Rachel's children's weeping? Now Rachel died before we even got to Egypt. So is this a dual prophecy that is speaking of? Yes, because it covers the time of Jacob's trouble. It covers the time. It's going to cover future time when Rachel going to be weeping for her children again, because we are her children. So does that mean she's crying from the grave? We'll get into that later. Let's get it. Where we at? Matthew 1:18.
1:18. Now the birth of Yahshua HaMashiach was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together.
Before they did what?
Before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost.
So it's a lot of them will say, well, that before they came together, that means something. Look, it can only mean one or two things. It can mean before they had sexual intercourse or before they had the wedding ceremony. Whichever one you choose, still don't answer the question of conception to be made pregnant. That's where we at today, y'all. And that's the whole deal why the angel came, y'all. Because right here it says before they came together. If you say that's before they had the marriage ceremony, well, we understand that, but there's no reason to put her away privately. No way. You can't, even if you married her before that, you still, the law say, if you came upon a virgin, you are ordered to marry her. There's no penalty for that. Putting her away would be worse. Putting her away would make her a harlot at this point. If he put her away, then it's going to be said she's never a virgin again. You have to tell her she's had sex without a husband. So y'all, we're going to get into that title too, y'all, and understand it has a point that has to be dealt with, and then it has a practice point, like sin, and then you got wickedness. See, we sin every day, willingly and unwillingly. But then there's iniquity, what's practiced, and that becomes wickedness. That's where you get good in your sin. Like R. Kelly filming himself peeing on somebody. See, now he's practicing iniquity. What would you film that for? I mean, what are you looking for? Is it to straighten me out so that I never do it again? Not with a whole bag of tapes.
No, that's for reliving his wicked.
Yeah. And what was he looking at? Damn. See, if I'd have drank that 40 or OE, them suds would really be. I'm gonna drink OE next time when I piss. What else could he be doing it for? Let's finish that up, bro.
Verse 19.
What'd it say?
Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man.
Being a what kind of man?
Just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Elohim appeared unto him in a dream.
When did he appear to him?
In a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost.
So it says, fear not to take her, because that which is made in her. Shalom, sis. Shalom. Y'all in town this weekend. What's going on? How y'all doing? What's up, baby girl?
Blessed to be here. We got turned around backwards, but I'm here.
Y'all, that's outstanding, y'all. Y'all, this our family always come down, break bread with us on Passover. That's right. That's right. It was with us down at the Punch Bowl as well. That's right. So tell them what y'all name is again. Y'all know I'm bad with names.
Elaine Baker.
That's Sister Baker, yeah.
From Belzona.
Belzona, Mississippi, y'all. And baby girl, that's the granddaughter, right?
Daughter.
Daughter. Okay, what's her name?
Sherry.
Sherry, that's right. Y'all, they always tell y'all see them on all the photos, y'all. Shabbat shalom.
And we in
Okay.
the book of Matthew, first chapter.
Thank you.
And since y'all help yourself with something to eat and drink over there.
And if y'all notice where it say to put her away privately,
Yeah.
they only put away for fornication.
Right. Right.
You didn't put away because she didn't make the Kool-Aid right.
Right. Absolutely.
It was for fornication.
Right. And look, the law, if he's a just man, he knows what the law is.
That's right.
All he has to do is make the ceremony public now.
That's right.
So he wouldn't have been putting her away if he had jumped the gun.
Yes, sir.
That's not fornication.
First and foremost, you have to understand, why was Joseph even chosen
Yes.
to be her husband?
That's right.
First of all,
Why was this elder man chosen to be such a young woman's husband?
Right.
And then you have to understand the definition of what a husband is.
Right.
If Christ is married unto the children of Israel, he doesn't have sexual relationship with Israel, but he's the husband.
That's right.
So what's the role of a husband? What's
Uh-oh.
the definition of a husband?
That's what we get down to, ain't it, boy? The bottom line of it.
he became her covering.
No, this ain't about, no, Joseph wasn't no sugar daddy.
No, he was her covering.
That's right. Maybe a sweet and low daddy, but he wasn't a sugar daddy. Where we at?
Verse 20. Matthew chapter 1, verse 20.
21, ain't you?
21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahweh, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of by the Most High, by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is being interpreted, Elohim is with us.
So now you see right here is two titles that was given to him in the verse. The first name was Yeshua, Jesus as in the English term. You see, so and then it jumps to Emmanuel, and then it links up with the prophecy of Isaiah 7. So you know we see the prophecy being inherited, but you see both names are titles. Because it's saying it's going to give something else, which his true name is, and that's a born supernatural without the stain of sin on him, in his flesh at all. So this is what you're saying, you know, on this wise, this was totally different. And that soothed Joseph, because that's why he was putting her away privately. When he come back from work, she was pregnant.
He wasn't sure.
I've been gone 7 months and you 6 months pregnant. Y'all do the math.
He like high.
And Joseph must be crazy as hell, or he suffered from a serious case of amnesia.
You're right.
Which one of y'all will do that?
Right. Let's read that last verse. Where you at?
Verse 25. Hold on.
Oh, 24.
24. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Elohim had bidden him, and took unto him his wife.
So now there's a formal marriage ceremony. That don't mean they had sex, because the next verse, go ahead.
And knew her not, till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and called his name Yahweh.
So he followed all of the rules per letter, to the letter, and said he knew her not. Now that's a K-E-N-W. Now is that saying he didn't really find out who she was? He didn't know her, like, what it's a what's her name? No, you got a problem with that because of all the other things that's going on, him putting her away privately. That don't work for that. No. So it only comes back to a sexual no, which means to come into the knowing of that relationship, so to speak, for the children's sake. So we're going to hold there, y'all. We just wanted to hit that, y'all. We're getting right to it. 1 Corinthians 15:45, I believe it is. We'll start right there, y'all. We just get right into supernatural conception of who Messiah is compared to. They can compare him to any other king. You compare him to King Solomon all you want. But that ain't the comparison. Because Christ himself said are greater than King Solomon is there.
Yeah, we read that.
You can't compare him to Hezekiah. Hezekiah begged not to die and was given 15 more years of life. Messiah say, if this cup will pass from me, but nevertheless, if it be what?
His will.
let it be so. I'll stay up here, y'all, because y'all have to understand, Hezekiah asked for a few years, and he was in good health. It was just, he was starting to feel some things, few heart palpitations. And the Most High never told him how long I'm going to give you. It just ended up being 15 years extra grace time. But Messiah was on the cross to die, and he remembered that. But y'all just don't understand the human side of him from his mother, like a mother. He was suffering up there. Do you know you suffocate?
Asphyxiation.
Hanging like this and with your feet and all your weight keeps pressing on your lungs. And y'all, it's the most...
And then if it takes you too long, they break your leg.
Then they break your leg, so it hurry up and speed up to death. So y'all, we're talking about the death penalty. And that was the death, that was the electric chair back in that day. Because before they pulled you off of there, you was two-piece. Let's get some more. Where we at? 1 Corinthians 15.
45.
Because we're going to start 45? Yes, sir. We're going to just, y'all, we're just hitting the points and we're getting the supernatural conception lined up, y'all. So far we see this is outside of pre-the-natural.
That's why I want to go back to that Luke, Luke 1 and 26.
Yeah, we're going to go to that Luke. We're going to bring that back up on John the Baptist.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Go back to the flesh is not the same.
You can go ahead. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Elijah.
Go back to,
you know what I'm talking about.
Go back to verse 39.
We're going to back it up to verse 39, y'all. 38.
38.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 38.
Uh-huh.
But Yahweh giveth it a body as it hath pleased him, and to every seed his own body.
So there's separation of every seed has its own body. So a tree has its own body. A man ain't got no need in getting naked and holding on to a tree. That's his own body. And I'm just trying to, keep it to a point of where you understand there must be separation. You cannot go with something that's not meant for you. I don't care what type of scriptures you read in here. Men are only mentioned symbolically as trees, like in the garden in Ezekiel 31st chapter. But that's as far as you take this. Go ahead. 39.
All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds.
See, so now we get down to what was created after Adam. Is telling you, fish is called flesh. It's called meat. A lot of people don't think it as meat.
I don't eat.
Birds is poultry. That's still flesh. So it's just telling you there's different types of it, and then there's man, but then we're going to get to the other type of man's flesh. Let's get some more.
Verse 40. There are also celestial bodies.
What kind of bodies?
Celestial. And bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
So we're talking about heavenly and earthly. Two different things. The sun and the moon, they're made up to never break ranks. They don't disobey. They follow to the letter. Who's the only one break the law? Man get animals to break the law. Them animals just don't come up on a man go them. The animals don't be knocking on the door, asking, do you want to go out on a date? Let's read some more.
Verse 41. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars.
Right.
For one star different from another star in glory.
So each star individually, as many as you can see up there, and he said, I number, just like the Most High say, I know all the number of the hair on your head, he can tell you. If you got Larry Stooges going now, with the middle going out, and just side, he know how much left on the side.
That moon roof.
Right. If you...
Why you sitting up there talking about it?
You got a little bit of... If you got an extended forehead, he know what's left on your head. Go ahead, bro. And see, and also look, it says the sun has a glory. So that's why we always understand that the glory of the sun that promotes the weekly Sabbath is different from the glory of the moon that promotes the Sabbath days that are around feast days, because a lot of time every feast is say this day is to be accounted as a Sabbath day. But if the Sabbath is on Friday, what about when we have a high holy day and they say the next day you got to be a Sabbath to you? So if you have Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, you got a feast and they say this is a high holy the next day, so that makes Sunday a Sabbath. Yep. That didn't switch the weekly Sabbath. It just made you to look at the first day of the week as a Sabbath day. That's what the glory of the moon does. So that nobody get this misunderstood. You'll see a lot of times our elder Iman Nkosi. She's a moon specialist on feast days. We just bringing the other part, the glory of the sun, to the conversation. But we are not at odds under no circumstances. We are not at odds. So anybody out there thinking when she says something we're at odds, we just bringing a more understanding to the conversation. But she's clear exactly on what she's saying and understanding about the moon. We just straighten out the weekly Sabbath part, the glory of the sun. But y'all, we're thick of thieves on this one. And so that it don't get misinterpreted when we on these airwaves. And y'all, and that's how we do. We seek another's wealth. We make sure there's no hole in your armor. There's nothing lacking. If we hear it, we get it. But we don't get into debate contests. Debates make you scream and holler. And when you're screaming and hollering, nobody can understand what you're saying. Ain't y'all done heard children screaming and crying? You have to calm them down so they can tell you what's wrong. You can't understand them when they hollering and they crying and you're like, what's wrong? Calm down and tell me what happened. And then he took my ball and ran on home with, that's what you were saying?
After all that.
Okay, I understand you now. So with all your get understanding. Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at? Right. That's next. Go ahead.
Verse 42.
Right.
So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption.
Right.
It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power.
So we have to understand here, this eliminates reincarnation, because it says it's sown incorruptible at this point. So whether you're raised to go straight to the lake of fire, it's still an everlasting death. It's incorruptible. You will never be able to die again. You'll see worms feasting on you, and you'll be alive supernaturally. So that's a difference. So resurrection means you're supernatural at this point. Either you're supernaturally wicked or you're supernaturally righteous in the resurrection of the dead. Reincarnation means you can come back as anything. Come back as somebody else. You come back as Duke the German Shepherd.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wait a minute, man. I believe that's Uncle Rufus, man. Listen how that dog howl. You remember when Uncle Rufus used to drink that moonshine with them 3 X's on the jug and how he'd just howl after a drink? Now listen to Duke. I believe that's Uncle Richard. That ain't Uncle Richard. That's the German Shepherd.
He ain't being raised up no more.
Right. No. And then who coming back as Abraham for what? Who coming back as Messiah for what?
It's appointed for a man to die once.
You know what I'm talking about. Let's read some more.
Verse 44. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body.
What kind of body?
Spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul.
The what man? What was he called?
The first man, Adam, was made a living soul.
Right.
The last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
So, y'all, this is clear understanding that you can go into all that Hebrews you want, talk about that, but you can go into Hebrews 1 where it talk about according to the flesh, but when you get Hebrews 7:16, that's a whole different understanding. This is a whole different understanding. The second man, spiritual. So it's talking about a different conception. It's right here in your face, but they throw that monkey wrench and have you looking at Hezekiah and King Solomon and the wisdom of Solomon when say no other king was born on this earth. What about Adam? How did he come into this earth? What about Messiah? We got too many scripts. We're going to hold there, y'all. We just want to be made that. I tell you what, go on, hit that verse.
On down.
Going down, yeah,
47.
49.
47, 49.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. 49-50, yeah. 49-50. You in 47, like.
Okay, verse 47.
Right?
The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven.
Where's the second man?
The Lord from heaven.
Where is he from?
Heaven.
See, it didn't say he was from Joseph.
No, you skip 46.
He skip 46? Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead,
46.
bro.
Okay. Back it up.
Yeah.
Rewind. Verse 46. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
Right.
The first man is of the earth. The second man is the Most High from heaven.
Where are you from?
Heaven.
That's right. So see, y'all, it's clear again here that it's giving you the language, but most people don't want to see it. They take you and turn your whole thought process to a different avenue. Now think about this. Who else came into the world? All of them had a mother and father. We just asked the question, who's Adam's mother and father?
See, Adam had to have an umbilical cord.
Right. Well, we still want to know who his daddy was, and then who's his dad, and then who his dad. And this is what it means about getting into endless genealogy. This is what it means. The record stops at Adam. The record stops at Messiah. Cain lineage stopped at the ark. No need to be trying to bring people across that it ain't written they came across.
Yeah.
Endless genealogies, y'all. Stick with the record. You can't go wrong. It's called staying at home. What you got there, not?
Yeah, that goes when people say they talk about living. Then you get to ask them who's living.
Yes, sir. Let's get that. What's that second? 223. Yeah. So y'all, just hold that really quickly. Elisha brought up something that we want you to get a clear understanding of the difference in what Adam did and versus what happened to Messiah, because Messiah never sinned. And a lot of people, you know, they say Eve was wicked and all the stories of wicked women, but you don't have a problem with Ezra. Hit a little bit of that for me, Elijah, real quick. Y'all just write this down. What chapter and verse is that, like?
The second Ezra, chapter 3, verse 20.
Y'all just gonna hit that 20, 21.
Verse 20, 21. Well, I'm in just 21, real quick. 21, 22, I'm sorry. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart.
Bearing a what?
Wicked heart. Transgressed and was overcome.
And was what?
Overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
All they that are born of him. So now, if you go with that same Hebrews they like to use, and he's made after the seed of David in that act, then you got to say Messiah was born with the same flesh we were, and he cannot be Messiah. He has to be a blemished lamb at this point. He cannot be, if you're going to use wisdom of Solomon at this point. What else to say, Elijah?
Verse 22. Thus infirmity was made permanent.
What was it made?
Permanent. And the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away and the evil abode still. See, so y'all, you have to see and understand Psalm 51. We're going to hit that as well, what David was saying, I was shapen in iniquity. A baby can't be born a sinner. You were shapen in iniquity because your parents, you got that same stain on your flesh. And iniquity is the flesh is going to corrupt. But guess what? The babies are called innocence. Ain't no man called innocence. Children are called innocent up to a certain age. That's why he say it's been better that you tied a millstone around your neck than to do what? Touch a child. Offend the child because they're innocent. But y'all to think about, you know, a lot of people, you know, we have to be careful about what happens in innocence. Especially with the gay community that we got coming up with these molesters in home, and women getting men who they know molesting their children, and they don't want to say nothing because they don't want the man to leave, so they just let them stay there and know what they doing to their children. Or they get hooked on drugs and sell a boy as a harlot, like Joel speak of. Girl for wine, a boy as a harlot, got him dressed up like a little girl, and then we can't charge them with the crime only to when they become of age, and then like Ezekiel say, if he turned from what happened. But y'all, that's a whole legion of demons. We have to be careful that we just don't point and attack at them because of what happened to these children. And then this is what happened to y'all when we talking about those that don't take care of their household. If you don't take care of them, they go into the state.
And when they go to the state, they bounce from house to house, with the script say it's a miserable life to go from house to house.
Mm-hmm. Be like Annie.
And when you go from house to house, somebody devil take you, I'll take you, bring you home. See, we got a fireplace and we do Christmas and you'll have your own room, but guess what? When night falls, guess who comes into your room?
Uncle Charlie.
Think about Michael Jackson versus how they charge him now, but you got an 8-year-old boy in a club singing grown folk songs. What does he know about got to be there? You ain't got to be nowhere with no woman at that age protecting no woman. You 8 years old.
That's the one in school.
You in a nightclub. They robbed him of his innocence. Does that make him do what he did as he got an adult? No, but you have to look at the whole picture of this before you make a judgment. You have to go back to the beginning, like Messiah said. You go back to the beginning on any subject, you are going to find out and you're able to make a right judgment. You cannot make no judgments in the middle. Like the little boy crying and hollering, mama can't get nothing out. She said, start from the beginning. What happened? I want to know what happened before. What made you holler like you hollering? That's what I want to know. I don't want to know why you hollering. I want to know what led up to you hollering the way you doing. Then I can make a fair judgment. Oh, that's that bully been around there, huh? He done finally got to you, huh? The buck stops here today. We're going to the bully's mama's house. We're going to show them what the real bully is. See, and that's what they ain't heard. Somebody knocking on the door like Jehovah's Witness. Where that badass boy at? I want the ball and bring that boy to the door so we can see who it is. That's got him off balance already. Where we at?
I'm tripping off what you said about me. I got to be there. I'm the lyrics playing in my head.
Is they playing in your head?
He 8 years old.
Yes,
saying
sir.
that.
I'm talking about he was in nightclubs. Yeah. He was watching what his brother was doing with all of the girls that followed. All that came in on an 8-year-old. But see, they took advantage of his gift at that age. When you're hearing how he's singing, grown men wasn't singing like that.
The moment I know she loves me.
Boy, come on.
Huh?
If you really, ABC ain't talking about kindergarten ABC.
No, it's not.
No, it ain't.
1, 2, 3, me and you. If that happened in preschool right now, you take your child out of there, wouldn't you? If he came home, 1, 2, 3, me and little Susie. There's gonna be some problems, ain't it?
Come on, girl.
Right.
I think I love you.
Yeah.
And say shake.
Boy, come on, y'all.
Shake it, baby.
8 years old, y'all.
Shake
See,
it, shake
y'all
it,
not
baby.
understanding the craftiness of the
Wow.
devil, and he don't
I
care.
never tripped
He ain't
off of
gonna
that.
never be on your side because he has the death penalty. Nothing he can do that'll escape. Now, if it was somewhere written that if thou do righteous by 1,000 children, thy sin should be lifted, but it told him, you going and everybody else that look like you and act like you gonna be the same place. You are finished. You're through peace. You dead man walking. You dead spirit walking. Go ahead, what you got over there?
That's the whole thing I do, man. Bring them in young.
It's in the Talmud.
So they to bring them on up in wickedness. And that's all they see. I'll just tell the fight. I was in some about the good use thing, you know, when I was out on the road, they just had blood right down the table. Free.
Right.
Whatever you want.
They ain't free.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's in your contract. You just don't know.
And like another thing, like you just
It's something to talk with it.
Right.
Afterwards, but hey, take your pick. It's your pleasure, what you want. And that's what it is.
pick your pain.
And they say choose your poison.
Choose your father. Y'all, so when we talk about people acting in the spirit that's coming, the Sodom and Gomorrah spirit, y'all, we have to examine what happened, and then are they conscious enough to know what happened to them? They know, and they cannot be doing the same practice on nobody else. That's when Ezekiel 18 come into effect. It says if he turned from what his fathers did, if he turned from that, shall he be counted righteous? Yes, he should, but he got to be counted. But we cannot play the Dwayne Wade situation and say it's okay because he was left alone a lot at home by himself.
You think about it.
And that could have passed to his son, and instead of him saying, son, you got to break the curse, he's saying, teach it to your son if you have one. See, and that's the problem. What you got over there, D?
These keys. Saying about fingernail policies.
Yeah.
If you want to put it on, don't trip all other people saying, singing with it. And he's like, nah, You don't feel right.
You know it didn't feel right. The innocence gonna do that. Every drag queen out there tell you we can fool everybody but children.
And you think about it, Daniel, when Michael Jackson was little, he didn't know no better. But when he got older, that's when he found out, and guess what? They killed him. As soon as he started trying to break away from it. They like, it's too late now, Michael. We already
used you up.
Yeah.
We already used you up, but he's got to be accountable for everything he did after he knew what happened to him as a child. You're not going to get your childhood back. You can build all the playgrounds you want.
Never ever land.
Coming back. You'll never go back into that innocence again. You will never be able to do what a child do. Right now, if Elijah just laid out in the middle of that floor and just was swirling around like Curly Stew, just get dirty. Oh, and we just holler, get up, Elijah. You know, it'd be a problem. We'd be kind of congregating, man.
What's wrong with him?
Boy, they got hold of something. What the hell going on over there?
He must be having a fallout.
He having a fit over there, ain't he? But children, you like, boy, get up off that floor dirty, you know. But that's what children do. You can't get that back to lay out like that no more.
And see, not only that, he had already enjoyed the fruits of that.
Yeah, the fruits of the labor.
Benefits.
Yeah.
And trip off what he called it, never land.
Never land.
You can't enjoy the benefits and then say, I don't want the work that goes along with it anymore, and you still enjoying the benefits of it. You know, it's just like a mason. You get out of Mason, you don't go to the Masons meetings anymore, but you still enjoy the membership because of the
handshake.
Right.
You can't straddle the fence.
You can't.
Either you is or you ain't.
Oh, you ain't.
Satan ain't gonna allow you to enjoy his benefits and not partake of his rituals.
Right.
9 times out of 10, and if you riding that fence, you're gonna rip your tail.
And look, Satan tell you up front. He told the Messiah up front in Matthew 4, if you bow down and worship me, look what I got for you. And the Messiah told me, he said, look, it ain't happening, partner. You serve my Father and him only. So I want y'all to understand exactly what the Messiah said. He didn't say Satan can't even serve him. He said, you're to serve my Father and him only. Now, if my Father tell you to serve me, that's what you're going to do. But when Satan was going back and forth to the throne, he wasn't stopping and hollering at the Messiah. He was going straight to the Father. You know why? Because he wanted to be the Father. He don't want to be the Son.
He want to be head honcho.
He wants to be head honcho.
Man, the one.
So let's get that understood, what Satan is doing. He's imitating, because who you think the Antichrist is? He's mimicking the Antichrist, supposed to mimic Messiah. There's no head above the serpent. Who tricked Satan into doing wrong? Is there anywhere recorded in any lost book or anywhere that says a demon came upon Satan and convinced him to do it? Or is it simply exactly what Ezekiel 28:12 say? Pride was found in thee. You was lifted up because of how beautiful we designed you.
Yeah.
And you got too high-minded. You know, then when you read Isaiah 53, where it says Christ came as an ordinary man. He was not comely or formed. He didn't look like and built like the Hulk. But Satan was.
That's why everything wicked is always appearing beautiful.
Yeah.
They will dress it up to its most beautiful fashion, because you're taken by beauty.
Artificial light.
We're taken by beauty, by the sight of things that are tangible.
See, you're taken by the earthly eyes, but the spiritual eyes will see straight through that.
That's artificial light.
Don't fall for the dress on the pig.
Right. Don't fall for the what?
Dress on the pig.
Don't fall for the dress on the pig.
Or the sheep wool on the wolf.
Let's get it, y'all. Let's catch up, y'all.
We was in
Verse 49.
Yeah.
back to that Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 15:49.
49.
Yes, sir.
And as we have borne the image of the earth, so shall also bear the image of the heavens.
See, so he's saying there's no way you're not coming back here in flesh. You're not bearing. If reincarnation, in fact, then that kills that right there. Because they're saying they're coming right back in the flesh again.
Yeah,
they said this Negro was John the Baptist and this one was Moses, and they even said that one boy in New York was King David. What is he back for? What is King David back for? For what? And then they say, well, he don't remember he's King David. Well, what's going to happen when he reads 1 Samuel?
If you don't remember, how do you know?
Who gave him his authority?
So y'all understand what I'm saying. But eventually, if they're teaching the scripture, you don't think that's going to jog his memory when he reading about Bathsheba? He's saying, well, damn,
I'm
that's
having deja vu.
Because they teach is back, you come back to correct your sins. So what else did David do to bring him back again?
That means a man is appointed to a man to die more than one.
Until he gets it right. Well, guess what, y'all? We're going to be back at least 200 times for me, minimum.
Shoot, I need to start over now then. So
I'm trying to make up for my
because this one I already spent.
Boy, look, I'm like, y'all, I'm back again. I know it's 2049, but shit, my serious building shenanigans was just too much. I had to come back again.
Let me try it again.
Where we at, bro?
Verse 50.
What it say?
Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh.
Right.
Neither doth corruption inherit incorruption.
So that's a kicker there to let you know you're not going into that kingdom with corruptible flesh. Anybody saying that they are saved now, saying they're going to the kingdom with corruptible flesh. If you're saved now, you shouldn't die because you should be incorruptible.
You shouldn't even get a cold.
Everywhere in that scripture it says shall be, will be, might be. That's future tense.
That's right.
So how does a corruptible seed sit on the right hand of the Most High?
Well, you went another level then. Got some wheels turning.
Or ain't he made looking down at me?
Yeah. And look, what's she looking down on, the game?
I sure wish I was at that party.
Right. Like she want to come back down here to what we doing. No, see. That ain't the way you twerk a stanky leg. I should go back down. That ain't the right electric slide. And they stumbling over each other. See, if I was back down there, Lord, can I just go back and teach him something?
Yeah.
No.
That's vanity in itself.
Yeah, that's vanity.
I need to come down from heaven to show them
And I
how
like
to
to
do it
watch,
right.
move on, y'all. I like to watch that ridiculousness. But they had one scene where they were talking about, when people, if they gain too much, they can't get up. If they fall down, they have time rolling over. So they was out this grave site, and there's one sister, I guess she was kneeling down to pray at the grave site, and she fell over and couldn't get back up. And the one girl was laughing. She said, Corey would be dying laughing if he saw you trying to get up. Well, Corey is dying dead. So now the laughing part we don't know about. But they were struggling at the gravesite. She just out of the blue said he would be dying laughing at you. Well, he dead and he ain't laughing no more. He waiting on judgment. He may find out about it then, she fell over at your gravesite,
Get
but it
your
still
ass
ain't
off
gonna
my
be
dirt.
laughing, right? Gonna be gnashing of teeth. Hopefully it won't be for Corey. Let's get some more, y'all. We done with that. We done with that. Okay, y'all, let's move on, y'all. We're gonna get right to it. Once again, just hit that real quickly for me, Elijah. Second, in the Maccabees, I just want to point when the temple was rededicated, the date it was on, because we're getting back to, and then, bro, we're gonna go right into Josephus. Not Josephus, Book of James, Proviangela, and he gonna put that up on the board for everybody. But I just need that
139, the second book.
Second Maccabees. I just want right where the temple was rededicated on the day. Because y'all, that was the same day that they came in there and tore it up. See, so just like they came in and beat up on the Messiah, and then he was resurrected to do the second work to glorify the temple again, y'all, it's going to all tie in. All we saying is his birthday.
When he fell out with the high priest.
When he fell out with the high priest. So all we saying that, what we're telling you is there's enough scripture to lean around that time.
2:19? Where you at?
The closest you can get is probably 2 years off. Y'all, so technically we could be either 2017 or 2022. Technically, if we get down to the correct day, because they're saying we're about 2 years off from the birth of Christ. We're in the year 2019 BC, AD. So we're talking about Anno Dominion, or before Christ was conceived on planet Earth. They knew it was around that time, so that's what time is based off. So you wouldn't even have to argue with nobody about Egyptology is the oldest doctrine. Tell them, and we'll explain it from Pharaoh time. How you gonna talk about the Christ don't exist and Pharaoh was here first, and yet you using BC and AD? Something wrong with that, ain't it? Let's read some more. What
White man put that in there.
Okay. You know what I want? Just right where the temple. Where you at? Second Maccabees, chapter 3. Yeah.
Chapter 3.
I just want to rededication on that date. To get that date. Yes, the 25th of Kislev.
Oh, okay.
That's Second Maccabees 3. Here we go.
That was when
That'll highlight. I'm drawing a blank. I thought I wrote that down. I guess I didn't write that down, huh?
Boy, you like me the other day.
Yeah. But we'll get it. I'm gonna find that, y'all. But while we're looking for that, y'all, we're gonna get right into the book of James, the Proviangeline, while I find that really quickly. And what I wanted to do was let you understanding the date 20 and 5th of Kislev from the Hebrew calendar is a feast day versus the 20 and 5th day of December. And look, y'all, 2 years ago, it fell on the same day. Mm-hmm. So which set of lights you gonna do? You gonna light that menorah 7 days? I mean, for 8 days, all of them at one time? Because in Judaism or the Talmud, they have a 9-branch menorah with a hexagram on it. It don't say 9 branches. It say 7 branches all throughout the Bible. 7. So where did 2 more come from? So there's a whole different practice even in, when you're looking at that, you got to be careful that when you order your menorah, you got to order 7 branch. A lot of them will only have 9 branch. And y'all got to get on this now. Ain't nothing but a few weeks out and everybody buying them now. Or you're going to have to do what you do with a fireplace. Put one up on your app with just a menorah burning in if you got to go that route.
I sent an email a couple of weeks ago with links
to get everything. Okay, so since we get that to Tobias again and have him get it out again for the worldwide audience. They got any questions out there so far, Tobias?
I'm actually scrolling through Second Maccabees, look for the same thing.
Yeah.
around this, hold on, kingdom birth
No, it's right when we rededicated the temple.
right. This is what it's graphic.
We'll catch it up, but let's get into that book of James, the Proviangeline, and Tobias will hold it up. I'm gonna give you that. Any questions out there, Tobias?
Nope.
Already asked that, didn't it? Get to these bookmarks. Yeah, 1 second. Because I'm gonna have him read it out of here so we stay on point.
Somebody said Maccabees 4:38.
4 and 30, yeah. Good looking out, y'all. The Spirit told me to write that down. It was hard-headed, though. What? Yeah, my mama had a way of straightening out hard head. Okay, Elisha. Here we go right here. Who got it? The Proviangeline.
You got the
So he's gonna put it up on the board right there on live stream. So
10, 1 through 9, Second Maccabees.
Second Maccabees 10, 1 through 9. We can go there right there. Second Maccabees 10, 1 through 9. We're way up there, huh? I thought it was closer to, I guess after all the chaos and the scrapping. 10, 1 through 9.
I just read 4:38.
Yeah, there it is right there. There it is. Right there.
4:38 wasn't it?
Go on, Casey. Go on, Casey.
Okay, so just hit 10 right where it was at.
That's it?
Yeah, right there. And read that date down 1 through 5. No, 1 through,
So 11,
and then you go to, you say 11 and
11 and 21.
and 11 and 21. And let's hit those real quick before we get into that book of James, because yeah, we're gonna get a lot into that James, y'all. As we go into James, y'all, we're gonna go back to scripture where the event is happening at, so you can clearly see that Joseph was not the biological father of Messiah. But one thing, y'all, we have to understand, when we say Joseph not the father, y'all, we're not downplaying Joseph's responsibility in his role as a father for Messiah, because not once did the Messiah ever say he was a bad father.
Nope.
Even though he knew what the deal was, he understood. Even when he didn't know what the deal was, he was still a just man and moving her out of the way so that she wouldn't be stoned. He thought about it like any man would do. Like I say, you gone 7 months and she's 6 months pregnant. That's a problem, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. What would you do?
Right. So and no more are we downplaying Aaron and Moses when we talk about Melchizedek. We're talking about them Pharisees who sit in Moses and Aaron's seat. They don't do what Moses and Aaron do. We're just telling them that they'll promote Aaron's priesthood, but they're not doing none of what Aaron and Moses did. They just talking the game. Go ahead, Elijah, hit them two for me really quick.
We just hit this one.
Yeah.
The other one is the 24th.
Okay.
There's a difference with
2 Maccabees chapter 10. I'm going to hit 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Now Maccabeus and his company, the Lord guiding them, recovered the temple and the city.
What they do?
Recovered the temple and the city.
Right.
But the altars which the heathen had built in the open street, and also the chapel, they pulled down. And having cleansed the temple,
having done what?
Cleansed the temple. They made another altar, and striking stones, they took fire out of it, and offered a sacrifice after 2 years, and set forth incense and lights and showbread.
So we see the same thing of a priesthood, and not only that, but they struck rocks to make a fire. So that you know how you see them hunters use flint rocks and they finally get the fire going. That's what they got it going with.
Hey, Shannon.
So, Shannon, go ahead.
Verse 4. When that was done, they fell flat down and besought the Most High that they might come no more into such trouble.
Right.
But if they sinned any more against him, that he himself would chasten them with mercy.
How will he chasten them?
With mercy.
See, y'all, that's the chastening we got to seek, y'all, because we don't want him to chasten us in his sore displeasure or his wrath, y'all, because it ain't no recovery from that. If he chasten us with mercy, it's going to be like your mama say, put a good one on you, bring in the salve and rub on the parts that got a little tender on them area, and we tell you, now look, this hurt mama more than it hurt you. But mama loves you. And then you think you love it, like she said, I'm gonna get you again if you do it again. But the mercy is I'm at least putting salve on this wound because you shouldn't do this again. That's the mercy, y'all. And then that same thing in Ecclesiasticus, in the book of Sirach, chapter 2, all the way at the end, verse 18, when it says his mercy and his majesty are equal. So that's what we're trying to get on if we mess up on his mercy side. That where he said, I'm going to give you a break like he did David. Like Nathan told him, the Lord already know your heart, so he going to spare you with mercy because you're supposed to die. Not only did your men know you knew who Bathsheba was and she was married, but the Lord knows as well. You already got 2 witnesses against you, David. You ought to be dead. But the Lord never forget him, because when we get in this Matthew, we was talking about the chapter we're going to get in, Matthew 1 and 6, where it talks about, and David, and Bathsheba, when it gets on to Solomon, it said David, his father, and Bathsheba, who was the wife of Uriah. See, and it said who was the wife of Uriah, but she's no more. But it's never letting us forget what happened in that lineage, and also letting us know that David could never be Messiah because of that event right there. Messiah was around women all the time, and not one of them ever say, move your hand. Where we at?
That's another thing, when we talk about David, it's a perfect example of how grace and mercy works.
Yes, sir.
Most times, the thing that the people who are consistent in covenant, David was a righteous man. He might have messed up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Overall, he was a righteous man.
One and done for David.
And he had a heart like his own.
You can't
Mercy.
sin They expect the Most High to have the mercy.
I'm gonna just do it one more time.
No, ain't do it one more time. That may be your last time.
Right.
Let's get it. Where you at, Elijah? You finished that?
No, he still
Go
got
ahead.
something to go.
I need to finish, let me go back,
Verse 3.
Offered,
let me see.
that they might sink come no more into such trouble.
Right.
But if they sinned any more against him, that he himself would chasten them with mercy.
Right.
And that they might not be delivered into the blasphemous and barbarous nation. Now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again. Even the 25th day of the same month, which is Passover.
So the Hebrew month for December, or so to speak, the 20th and 5th day, they put swine on the altar, and it was cleansed the same day, made back right. So it's just letting everybody know that you can be cleansed back if something happens like that. But Messiah took on this same role because all these were shadows of him. So he did the same exact thing, cleanse, and where the heathens came in, and it was the Romans that did a lot of these things. So it's mirror image. And then John 10, we know he went up to the temple and celebrated the Feast of Dedication. He went up into the porch, of Solomon's porch. So where we at, like, you finished that, right? Yeah. So y'all, all I wanted to show was the date, 20th and 5. What day is Christmas on? So y'all, Satan is an imitator. Satan ain't gonna be way left field and put or anything close to the birth of Christ around a different time. He's right there. But the trick won't always be like reincarnation versus resurrection. There's always gonna be a small difference. And the difference in, could it have been possible he was conceived on that day? And why I'm saying this is because Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant. That makes John the Baptist 6 months older than Messiah. So we have to look at the time that Zechariah was in the temple running his course. If his course was in June and he went home and got his wife pregnant, so in what month how many months would she be in December? So, and if Mary had just conceived and Elizabeth is 6 months, did she conceive Messiah around that time? See, y'all, it's a lot of things we talk about live birth versus conception to be made pregnant. But we're going to get into this, y'all. Y'all going to see what I'm talking about. Or what the script, I hope that the script is bringing forth. So, y'all, right there, so we finished with that. Let's get right into 18. I want to get right into the book of James. Where you at, bro?
Want me to start at 12 or where you want me to? What chapter?
Yeah, I mean, you got it up, or how they gonna see it?
I got it right here.
No, I'm talking about for the camera.
Oh, no, I was sticking in front.
Okay, well, you can do that and do that and read like that?
You got it.
No.
No, I'm just saying,
Nope.
are they gonna be able to see it when you read? If not, Elijah read.
Have the light.
Yeah, he just opened
Okay,
it up.
well, if you can do it, man, go ahead.
He gonna be able to do it.
No, I just
He ain't gonna be able to do it.
Okay, all right.
I'm telling you,
The eyes ain't that good.
it's gonna be too
Just
little.
hold that up in front of the camera then. For everybody. We started verse 1. I mean, chapter 1.
Chapter 1?
Yeah, or you want to get right to the meat of it. What right to the meat of it?
Well, you talking about what age she was, or you talking about
No, let's start about 8th chapter.
Okay.
I want to get to where Mary was walking up the steps. You want to go at the age.
What book we going to?
The Provian Yolanda James.
Okay, so we.
I would say 12.
Yeah, no, I want to start before then. I want 10 because 10 is the meat. I want to start about 8. Okay, so we're gonna start at. Let's start at let's start at chapter 6. 6 and 1. We're gonna start it. Can you see that light? 6 and 1, we're gonna start at. You got 6 and 1? Y'all, what we're talking about is, y'all read chapter 1 through chapter 6. And what chapter 1 through 6 is, that, and then what we talked about again, we talked about spiritual eunuchs and the barren. That means a man that can't produce a child or a wife that can't conceive to have a child. So this is what this supernatural always comes in about. It always comes in on situations like where a child can't be born so that the record don't go broken, the commandments don't go broken, or a woman is barren. If they keep the faith, they will recover from this. So y'all, this is what is getting it too, because Mary's parents, the father had no children, and y'all reading there that he had to go back and search all the records of his forefathers, his fathers, and every one of them had children except him, and they was mocking it. The only way, man, you can't have no children. You can't have no children. So he had a reproach on him. So it was to a point that where him or his wife didn't know if who it was that was barren. See, and a lot of men think about those things too, and they say, well, let me get a second wife to find out. But if she don't get pregnant, then what you gonna do at this point?
You're gonna get a third.
You ain't the daddy.
Well, you get a third one, then it still be the same thing. So either you gonna blame them, oh, you old barren women. Why don't y'all have a sign around y'all neck before I come? So, or it's you, the man. So now you got to look at what dry trees do, or what was called eunuchs, of what they did when they just still do the work of the Lord to be fruitful and multiply. Because we know Messiah was multiplying. We know Paul after the road to Damascus was multiplying. He said, I'd rather that a man not touch a woman, but to keep you from burning up on the inside, let a man marry. He didn't say let a man shack. He said let him marry.
And then he said, be as himself.
Yeah. So go ahead, Elisha. Let's get this started at the 6th chapter. I was just giving y'all an overview of how Mary came in. Her parents was a supernatural birth as well, that where the angel came to his mother and told her, and then went to her father and told her, we're going to end y'all reproach today. It starts today, and Mary was born out of that. But you're going to see the difference in how or what she had to go through her process of being in the temple, and when she reached her flower, they had to put her out. Go ahead, read that, starting in the 6th chapter. Go ahead, Elisha.
And the child grew strong day by day.
Is yours saying the same thing? Two by?
The child
Priest, that's what mine says.
Okay, so it's same thing. Y'all see the same thing. You got the book?
Yeah.
Give me the book. All right.
I got the book too.
Yeah, boy,
Yeah, you sure gotta sit right there.
Sitting with the book. Yeah.
You gotta sit right there.
All right, let's go and read in.
He got the book reading off the phone.
Y'all forgive us, y'all. It was a late night last night.
I don't know how
I
late.
thought I had something.
Right.
Here you go,
You
bro.
need
Just
glasses?
read mine, bro.
Here you go. You got your? Okay, I got you. Okay, you got it. Yeah, y'all. Well, y'all get it back and forth. 6th chapter.
6 and 1.
Let's get it, y'all.
And the child increased in strength every day,
So it's talking about Mary. Every day she got stronger. Go ahead.
so that when she was 9 months old, her mother put her upon the ground to try and see if she could stand. And when she had walked 9 steps, she came again to her mother's lap. Then her mother caught her up and said, as the Most High, my Elohim liveth, thou shalt not walk again on this earth till I bring thee into the temple of the Most High.
So at that point, she tried her, because you know when a child is special.
Yeah.
If you got 5 children, you know which one it is. You love all of them the same, but you know the one look like the Lord got his hand on that one. The same way with and I don't want to keep using them. I'm just using that as an example. They knew that it was Mike, Jackie, Tito. Damn, Tito. Tito knew. All of them knew. They say his little bro got the juice. It's the same way when Samuel was looking for all David's sons. He like, these all the sons, and the big scrapping one 6'8", 240, arms big as a log, and he like, no, it ain't him. He like, these all your boys. He said, I can't leave. He said, got to be somebody. He said, well, just David, the little boy, he out there tending the sheep. Go get him. We can't leave until everybody's done. It said all your sons. And as soon as it poured the oil on his head, it lighted up. He said, that's the boy. Because it did the same thing that it did Messiah when he was baptized by John. It did the same exact thing. So David was consecrated king at 14 or 15 years old, but he didn't take the throne because Saul was still king.
That's right.
But he had it already, the same way Messiah, when you'll hear Ariel or Jacob say to our uncrowned king. See, there's going to be a crowning. There's going to be the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's the crowning where all the world acknowledge this the king, this the king. But he's already been anointed king at Calvary.
But has not worn an earthly crown.
Yeah.
So he was anointed king at Calvary. But he's going to come back with the crown on his head to let everybody know. Like David did when he finally marched into Jerusalem after Saul was dead.
Like the new president is already appointed, but he doesn't take his term yet.
Right. That's right, absolutely. To January or so, but he's chosen in November or whatever it is, ain't it?
Yeah.
Okay, verse 3. Accordingly, she made her chamber a holy place, and suffered nothing uncommon or unclean to come near her.
So when she took her out of the temple, she took her on home and made sure that everything surrounding Mary was clean. She made sure everything, just like we'll get into Samson, Judges, his mama, she was told, you can't eat this, you can't do that. Nothing coming through that umbilical cord could damage this child. So in like manner, even after Mary was born, she made sure that nothing unclean came around Mary. She said, I'm not going to even let her walk on the regular ground no more.
Yeah, until she go back.
I know this child is supernatural. She's taken 9 steps?
9 steps in 9 months.
At 9 months old. Let's read some more. Where we at?
I'll finish out that verse 3. It says, and suffered nothing uncommon or unclean to come near her, but invited certain undefiled daughters of Israel, and they drew her aside. But when the child was a year old, Joachim made a great feast and invited the priests, scribes, elders, and all the people of Israel. And Joachim then made an offering of the girl to the chief priests, and they blessed her, saying, the Elohim of our fathers bless this girl,
right,
and give her a name famous and lasting through all generations. And all the people replied, so be it, amen.
So right here, but guess what I got right here? Y'all had in my bag too.
I see you got one too. 3 versions of the book.
Ishua gave me this a year ago. Said, hey bro, you need this book. And shouts out there. Look, all 3 of us got the book and we scrambling on the phone.
And that's where I got mine from, all praise.
Boy. We just getting older. We ain't old yet. Put the ER on the end of that. I heard what y'all said out there. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What verse am I? Okay. Verse 6.
Yeah.
Then Joachim a second time offered her to the priests, and they blessed her, saying, O Most High Elohim, regard this girl, and bless her with an everlasting blessing.
What kind of blessing?
Everlasting blessing. Upon this her mother took her up and gave her the breast and sung the following song to the Most High. I will sing a new song unto my Elohim, for he hath visited me and taken away from me the reproach of mine enemies.
See, the reproach of mine enemies. And this is when you read in Isaiah 4th chapter, when it talks about a man, these are the women saying to take away our reproach because they want to reproduce. See, this ain't got nothing to do with more so that they don't have a husband. The reproach is that they cannot have children because men, if they found out you couldn't have children, they stayed away. So y'all, and a lot of times men knew this, aforetime, but they figuring, oh, I can do my dirt here and get away. I can't be caught up in her because she can't have children. Let's read some more.
And hath given me the fruit of his righteousness, that it may now be told the sons of Reuben that Anna gives suck. Then she put the child to rest in the room which she had consecrated, and she went out and ministered unto them.
So what it's talking about is now the sons of Reuben, because when you get into the earlier chapters, it was a son of Reuben that told Mary's father, Joachim told me like, look, you know, you ain't in the registry, man. You outcast. You basically a bastard. We don't know if you a bastard. We can't check the record. We don't. All your people got children. Why you ain't got none? That was Reuben's son that said that to him. So when you read from first to, we just skipping the first 5 chapters. We getting right to the meat of the story. But y'all go back and you'll see that was Reuben. So it said now the reproach that Reuben passed on to everybody, man, he a eunuch, man. He can't have no children. That reproach is gone from her father. He acknowledged, he said, so I'm going to dedicate this child to the Lord forever. Because that's a blessing within itself. That's all this child is fit to be, is to serve the Lord. Because it delivered me and her mother from the stain and reproach that we have. Not only this, but they're going to see something supernatural in this child that's going on, that's going to let you know it's going to another level. So be careful when you talk about something like this and you listening to them doctrines about the father. You know, you can only go through the father and this and that. It never uses boy or girl. It only says the seed. And seed could be male or female. It ain't nowhere it says that it has to be male. It only talks about that registration in the army because women didn't go in the army.
That's right.
That's the only time you're going to see that in numbers. But you're not going to see it nowhere else. In Genesis 49, the seed, Abraham, the seed. Because if you don't, you got Revelation 12 and Genesis 3:16, the seed of a woman. Now get to explaining that. Go ahead, Elijah. What? Nope.
If you had it, of the most.
Well, now, like I'm saying, get to explaining that because if you're looking at a woman have eggs.
Yeah.
So, but a woman can have a seed, and how does that happen on earth?
No, I'm talking about the baby. You said both of our seed, the seed of both of you. So the man seed and the woman seed, the baby, the child.
Right, it's the product of both parts coming together. But the problem we have is what we're dealing with now is when Messiah is when there's no man seed or human seed. That's where we get to today. Because there's a time that when, and we're going to get to Abraham, we're going to get to Samson, and we're going to get to John the Baptist on what there is different from Messiah, because there's camps out there that teach it. Every one of those supernatural births was the same. They were exactly the same, but nowhere we read on this wise.
On this wise.
Concerning Samson. So we're going to hit all those so you get a clearer understanding of what we're speaking about today. And that's why we went to 1 Corinthians 15:51. The flesh from the Father's seed is incorruptible. A good tree cannot bring forth bad fruit. Neither can a rotten tree bring forth good fruit. Satan could never have good children. Never ever on the spiritual or the fleshly side. He's a rotten tree. He's a rotten beginning. Well, he's just a tree, just like Messiah's tree, but the Father is the root.
And notice how in 1 Corinthians 15, it compares Adam to Christ.
Right.
Not to any other birth.
That's right.
No other human birth. Other than the same birth of Christ.
That's right.
As being the sons of God.
And he said the first Adam was.
But no other human birth is compared to those two births.
That's right.
There's a reason for that.
Well, yeah, Elijah.
We're still in that original.
Yeah, we're going on down to
Okay,
yeah.
I'm in verse 10. And when the feast was ended, they went away rejoicing and praising the Elohim of Israel.
Right.
Verse chapter 7. But the girl grew, and when she was 2 years old, Joachim said to Anna, let us lead her to the temple of the Elohim, that we may perform our vow, which we have vowed unto the Most High, lest he should be angry with us, and our offering be unacceptable.
So we're going to get into a little bit of Judges 11 where we're talking about Jephthah, that great warrior of Israel. The Lord blessed him and he said, whoever comes out of my door first, I'm going to dedicate him to the Lord. See, these are called, he said, I'm going to perform a living sacrifice. See, a lot of people think that means you're going to put somebody to death. It don't mean that. A sacrifice means you're giving your children to do a service in the temple for life.
Duties in the temple.
How is it a living sacrifice if you kill it?
Right.
He said nobody should pass their child through the fire of Molech.
That's right.
Come on, why would we commit child sacrifice?
Let's get it.
So the southerners back.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
But Anna said, let us wait the 3rd year, lest she should be at a loss to know her father. And Joachim said, let us then wait.
You see the understanding of what this mother said who's nurturing the child at the early age. She said, look, we need to wait at least till she's 3 so she get to know you.
Yeah. No.
You know, we need her to make sure she knows you good, who her father is, even though, because a child will lose sight of who her parents are, you give them to the temple. They don't want to get mixed up. The high priest ain't your daddy. Joachim, your daddy. We want that 3-year-old, and that's where the minds of young children, most of us can remember probably back to 2 years old, no further back. How far can you remember back, Theo? What'd you say, high school?
Yesterday. 5 minutes ago.
Let's get it, right.
I parked in front or in back.
Let's get it, y'all.
Okay. Verse 4.
Fool.
Okay, no,
You're going to
verse
do the
3.
old finger
Verse 3.
on the whole spot. Yeah. Go ahead.
And when the child was 3 years old, Joachim said, let us invite the daughters of the Hebrews who are undefiled, and let them take each a lamp, and let them be lighted, that the child may not turn back again, and her mind be set against the temple of the Most High.
So does this in Matthew 25, the Most High, the 10 virgins? They all get all in their lamps. 5 didn't have it; they wasn't ready.
Sound like
so
They turn back.
we understand these unblemished. When you ready, you got the oil in your lamp. You ready for it to happen anytime. If it happen this second, I'm ready to go. But you can't go to the store when it's happening. You can't get prepared for the day of the Lord on the day of the Lord.
Is this coming to be her 3rd Earth Day?
Let's get it.
It's her 3rd Earth
Yeah,
Day.
and this seeing, y'all
It's
notice
her
how it's
third-
counting the time. This same as Psalms 90 and 12 when people talk about birthday, y'all, we don't promote or like that, but the deal is birthdays is mentioned in the scripture 3 times and not one of them ever said it was wicked. Wicked things happen on those days, but wickedness happen on every day. Every day is somebody's birthday, ain't it? But this is here, Psalms 90 and 12 tell us, teach me to number my years. How you gonna know if you said 3 score and 10?
Me and her father did a feast when she was a year old.
And right, so
Yeah, they did the same thing.
Same thing with Isaac, yeah, the weaning off of breast, you know. So y'all, these things are numbers are always so you know where you at.
Marks in life.
But when you started bringing in candle magic, and you started bringing in the little dunce cap and all those things, now you're moving to how Satan wants you to count your number of years, and he asks you to make a wish.
Make a wish.
And see, your parents don't know what you wish.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell nobody. Make
Why
a
you wanna
wish.
blow your light candle like
You
that?
know, and what if your wish is, I hope both y'all die with this present. I said a Nintendo 6000, and y'all come in here with this Pac-Man game. I hope both of y'all die. That's my wish.
And then you blowing like
You blowing out the candle. Off the candle. You supposed to keep the light lit.
That's
Most
right.
High said, does a man light a candle and
put it on
keep
the bush?
Let your light shine.
Yeah.
Well, you
But
talking.
they tell you to blow it out.
Blow it out.
End your
End
life.
your life. Commit suicide. Kill yourself,
Well,
Tony.
y'all talking supernatural
Stick
here.
yourself, Tony.
That's right. Let's get it.
Verse 4. And they did thus till they ascended into the temple of the Most High. And the high priest received her and blessed her and said, Mary, the Most High God hath magnified thy name to all generations, and to the very end of time by thee will the Most High show his redemption to the children of Israel.
So her name, I don't care who you talking about, Shalom, Dre. No matter who you talking about, it's in the Quran. The Quran talks about Mary and Messiah. Egyptology talk about them, but it's this same Mary, one and the same, not the one that the Catholics talk about. They talk about her, but they have a whole different woman they are putting these on. And look, the writings are different. Nothing in the scripture tells us to do what Catholics tell the Roman Catholic religion. I should say that universal church.
They worship the Queen of Heaven.
The Queen of Heaven, because they
Not the
say
real heaven.
you should pray to her and not to Messiah. That ain't in the scripture. The scripture never say, and those who realize this shall say 7 Hail Marys and rub the beads and that's a total different situation. Just like their Messiah is not the same Messiah in the scripture. Right. They keep their Messiah a baby.
He's still
Sweet
a baby.
baby Jesus. See, because they want to keep him innocent because
the grown the sinner.
That's what they saying, y'all.
He's a full-fledged sinner.
That's what they say.
Lawbreaker.
That's what they saying. So we have to get another. And he looks like a hell's angel on crack. Every picture they show
LSD.
Where we at?
Well, they keep him as a baby because they pedophilia.
Yeah, one or the other, Elijah. You right, bro. Let's get it.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
And he placed her upon the 3rd step of the altar.
Right.
And the Most High gave unto her grace. And she danced with her feet. And all the house of Israel loved her.
Now, y'all see this? So on the 3rd step, she walking up steps now.
She got the happy.
You know, and danced a little bit, you know, and they like, look, she's special. We know she's special. She's walking at an early age. She's doing these things. This child, look, look, Hollywood is always trying to copy, but they'll throw something in it. Do y'all remember the movie Eddie Murphy played in The Golden Child? Same situation, y'all. If y'all look at how it was put down, it's the same thing. Revelation 12, he went to make war with the woman and her seed to kill him. So in like manner, when you look into that movie, you'll see some semblance of it. And he was the golden child. See, y'all just keep listening for certain things, but Satan gonna twist it a little bit. But that's where he got it from.
You speak with forked tongue.
I just want to say all praises to the Most High. As Brother Dre back there, his wife had been a little bit ill and had a little surgery and everything has come out fine. She's at home. So all praises, Brother Dre. Go ahead. Where we at?
I'm in chapter 8, verse 1.
What it say?
And her parents went away filled with wonder and praising Yahweh, because the girl did not return back to them. But Mary continued in the temple as a dove educated there, and received her food from the hand of an angel. And when she was 12 years of age, the priests met in the council and said, Behold, Mary is 12 years of age. What shall we do with her? For fear lest the holy place of the Most High should be defiled.
So you see here, they're not looking at her as born without sin. They knew she's gonna come to the age of a woman. She's been here 9 years old. For 9 years. And look, sooner or later her flower gonna come. What we gonna do about this?
She about to be 12.
You know, dwell in the temple
with uncleanness.
Right. Doing her cycle.
Right. So that's where she was living.
Yeah.
So we have to understand what they had to come to council. What we gonna do about this situation?
Because she can't be here at that time.
Coming of age, y'all. Verse 4. Then replied the priest to Zechariah, the high priest, Do you stand at the altar of the Most High and enter into the holy place and make petitions concerning her? And whatsoever the Most High shall manifest unto you, that do. Then the high priest entered into the Holy of Holies, and taking away with him the breastplate of judgment, made prayers concerning her. And behold, the angel of the Most High came to him and said, Zechariah, go forth and call together all the widowers among the people, and let every one of them bring his rod, and he by whom the Most High shall show a sign shall be the husband of Mary.
So we got widower. So this is men without wives. The wives died before they did. But we know that our storehouse was set up for the widows and fatherless. It was not set up for the men, so to speak, because the man could kind of take care of himself. But since the man was a protection of a woman, it was set up for them if they lost their husband, whether young or old. So this was a widower. Say, go get every one of them, have them bring their rod. And when you had your rod, that lists your lineage, and you were responsible for your household. You were the upstanding citizen, and you understood the responsibility of a husband and a father. Go ahead, brother.
Carved in your staff.
Verse 7. And the criers went out through all of Judea, and the trumpet of the Most High sounded, and all the people ran and met together. Joseph also, throwing away the hatchet.
What was he doing with a hatchet?
Working, putting in work.
What he doing? What he was doing? Carpentry work.
Yeah.
So he heard it, and he like, oh, let me put down my saw here and go see what's happening. Go ahead.
Went out to meet them, and when they were met, they went to the high priest, taking every man his rod. After the high priest had received their rods, he went into the temple to pray. And when he had finished his prayer, he took the rods and went forth and distributed them. And there was no miracle attended them.
So right here, see, this is nothing new. The Most High used Moses' rod, didn't he? Yep. Put the prayer rod, throw it down. See, so it ain't like it's nothing new of this book talking witchcraft. We can find everything that they're doing according to the law that men always kept their staff. Judah gave all his to his daughter-in-law he thought was a whore. He gave her his staff as well, with his signet and his lineage on it. He gave all that away. Let's get it.
You gave much less.
Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11.
If you ever read.
The last rod was taken by Joseph, and behold, a dove proceeded out of the rod and flew upon the head of Joseph.
So y'all see, and this is what we're talking about, what the naysayers can't do. You cannot call Christ a curse and the Holy Spirit will magnify itself upon you. It ain't gonna never happen. 1 Corinthians 12, it will never ever happen for anybody that deny Christ. The Holy Spirit will not be with you. It will never manifest itself. So that's why they bring in the commandments of men and start working you a different way. They try to work a miracle into you, like pretending that they are more righteous than you, but they ain't doing nothing. No miracle. The woman had blood dripping for 12 years. Wasn't nothing they could do.
No,
they just was blaming. Now look, something you done done.
Nobody.
Hell, we thought you'd be dead the way all that. You been how long?
Right.
12 years? Shit.
He wasn't dead.
Right. Go ahead.
That's the mercy of the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Verse 12. And the high priest said, Joseph, thou art the person chosen to take the virgin of the Most High to keep her for him.
Right.
But Joseph refused.
What Joseph do?
Refused, saying, I am an old man and have children.
And have who?
Children.
See, so when you see Messiah's brothers that they already had, James and Joseph, those were Joseph's children before he came with Mary.
Right. Ain't this the same
Those
language
was
in
his
the lost books?
stepbrothers.
This is the same in the lost books as Mary.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So let's read them
I
up.
thought I was.
You ain't going crazy.
Let me hit 13 again.
Okay.
But Joseph refused, saying, I am an old man and have children, but she is young.
What did he say?
She is young,
Uh-huh.
and I fear lest I should appear ridiculous in Israel.
Like Sirach, 25, believe talking about an old fool that doted. How you gonna be walking around with this tender? You old, like, and Joseph was, it lists his age, he was almost 70 at the
Almost
time.
70 years old.
And he's got a young woman with him. He say, I look ridiculous to Israel.
Larry Flint and his little youngsters.
Yeah, no, just think about y'all. If y'all ever watched the movie, when Stella got a groove back, did y'all see how she was looking when they was in the movie theater laughing at that young movie and she was feeling out of place? And that's the way he felt that he would be looking. He was gonna be using words like skeezer and brick house, and they own different words.
Oh, he got the drip.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
So it'd be like, what you doing with that old man?
Right. Girl, that old man can't do nothing for you. That must be a sugar daddy.
He must got some money.
Got some money.
You don't love him.
Right.
Verse 14. Then the high priest replied, Joseph, fear the Most High thy Yahweh, and remember how Yahweh dealt with David, Korah, and Abraham, how the earth opened and swallowed them up, because of their contradiction.
So right here, he's saying that, you know, those were the ones that was facing Moses and causing all the problems in the wilderness.
Talking that drama.
Dathan and Korah and them. That was them always backbiting and talking trouble. And the earth opened up and it covered them back up. It didn't just make a sinkhole.
No.
Most people talk about sinkholes today, but this sinkhole covered them back up. Now, it was one incident in Florida where this man was in his bedroom. The whole bedroom, just his bedroom, went underground and it covered up. They didn't even dig for him. They just tore the rest of the house down. They say it's fruitless to go looking for him because we don't know how deep the hole go. But it covered itself back up. Now, why it only hit his bedroom and what was he doing up in there, I don't know. But the script warns us, though. Except you repent, the same thing may happen to you. Let's get it. Because death is death. Let's get some more.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
Now therefore, Joseph, fear Yahweh, lest the like thing should happen in your family. Joseph then, being afraid, took her unto his house. And Joseph said unto Mary, Behold, I have taken thee from the temple of the Most High, and now I will leave thee in my house. I must go to mind my trade of building. The Lord be with thee.
So the Lord be with thee.
So now she was at his house.
She had people
already at
there,
his house.
right, to watch her and look over her. He just didn't leave her there by herself. Now y'all had to understand, he probably was wondering about his sons too, because the Romans was passing messages around. She's a harlot. She's a harlot. They talk bad about the Messiah mama, and a lot of people gonna have to answer for that. Just like today, I don't care who you is, boy. You can say something about the nerdiest dude in class. You can tell all them jokes about his thick glasses and that pocket protector, but say something about his mom. You gonna see something rise up in that individual you never thought existed. Say something about his mama. Remember the movie Uptown Saturday Night when they were trying to get Big Percy to come out? And they were called, Big Percy, you ain't nothing, you old chump. And then he finally told him, now say something about his
Talk
mama.
about his mama, that'll get him out here.
And that brought him right out.
Little Seymour.
Little Seymour, yeah.
Seymour, yeah.
Yeah.
Percy was his
Bodyguard. But that brought him out. And he went to work about saying something about his mom. Go ahead, bro.
Verse chapter 9.
Yeah.
Verse 1.
What it say?
And it came to pass in the council of the priests, it was said, Let us make a new veil for the temple. And the high priest said, Call together to me 7 undefiled virgins of the tribe of David.
Of who?
The tribe of David. And the servants went and brought them into the temple of the Most High. And the high priest said unto them, Cast lots before me now. Who of you shall spin the golden thread? Who the blue, who the scarlet, who the fine linen, and who the true purple? Then the high priest knew Mary, that she was of the tribe of David.
Who was she of?
The tribe of David.
See, that kills that Luke argument anybody talking about, well, how we know she was from the tribe of David. What we just reread it again, right?
Why would
so
that
we
even
get
be
clear.
important?
That's the non-messianic.
Then the high priest knew Mary, that she was of the tribe of David. And he called her, and the true purple fell to her lot to spin, and she went away to her own house.
Right.
But from that time, Zacharias the high priest became dumb, and Samuel was placed in his room till Zacharias spoke again.
You know why he was done? This is the same Zachariah, this John the Baptist dad. So you have to understand he was dumb at that time, because when he asked him, what shall I call him? And he said, you're going to call him John. He like,
Ain't nobody named John in Israel.
John, our family, what?
Yeah.
What the hell going on? What kind of name is John? He like, so you got a problem with what I just told you. He said, I tell you what, you ain't going to tell nobody what you think his name ought to be. But as soon as John the Baptist was born and his mouth loose, they say, what is his name? John?
Yakanan.
Couldn't get it out fast enough. And they looking like, ain't nobody, look, John!
Yakanan.
I can talk again. Go ahead. What else to say, Elijah?
Verse 6. But Mary took the true purple and did spin it. And she took a pot and went out to draw water, and heard a voice saying unto her, Hail thou, who art full of grace.
Right.
The Most High is with thee.
thou art blessed among women.
Right? We read that all throughout the scripture, don't we?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And she looked around to the right and to the left to see whence that voice came. And then trembling went into her house, and laying down the water pot, she took the purple and sat down in her seat to work it. And behold, the angel of the Most High stood by her and said, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor in the sight of Yahweh. Which when she heard, she reasoned with herself what that sort of salutation meant.
Right?
And the angel said unto her, The Lord is with thee, and thou shalt conceive. To which she replied, What? Shall I conceive by the living Yahweh, and bring forth as all other women do? But the angel returned answer, Not so, O Mary, but the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the Most High shall overshadow thee. Wherefore that which shall be born of thee shall be holy, and shall be called the Son of the living Elohim.
Right.
And thou shalt call his name Yahweh, for he shall save his people from their sins. And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she also hath conceived a son in her old age.
So you see how it keep mentioning Elizabeth, and we're going to get into Luke, the first chapter, y'all. I just want to set this up, and we're going to get right back into the script. I just wanted so y'all get clear understanding of what happened, that whole process. Go ahead, bro.
And still no Joseph, right?
Right, absolutely.
And this now is the 6th month with her, who was called barren.
The 6th month was called barren. Elizabeth was. John the Baptist's mouth. Go ahead.
For nothing is impossible with Yahweh. And Mary said, Behold, the handmaid of the Lord, let it be unto me according to thy word. And when she had wrought her purple, she carried it to the high priest. And the high priest blessed her, saying, Mary, the Elohim have magnified thy name, and thou shalt be blessed in all the ages of the world. Then Mary, filled with joy, went away to her cousin Elizabeth, and knocked at her door. Which when Elizabeth heard, she ran and opened to her, and blessed her, and said, Whence is this to me, that the mother of my Lord shall come unto me? For lo, as soon as the voice of thy salutation reached my ears, that which is in me leaped and blessed thee. But Mary, being ignorant of all those mysterious things which the archangel Gabriel had spoken to her, lifted up her eyes to heaven and said, Elohim, what am I, that all the generations of the earth should call me blessed?
So we see right here, when we was talking about baptism the other day, we was understanding it's more symbolic water baptism. We do it, ain't nothing wrong with you doing, but understand it's just a baptism of repentance. But right here, we can see John the Baptist being baptized with fire because his mama prophesied when she came through. And that's what happened when the Holy Spirit come on you, you prophesy. It don't let you shout out language that can't nobody else speak. Skip it. Coming in a hundred. John Paul Van Dam. Jesus. None of that. It comes over you and you prophesy. You speak of past. The revelation is here, y'all. The prophecy spoken of is happening now. That's what she's saying. So this the question. Who baptized John the Baptist? Look, he couldn't have been baptized already because when the Messiah came to him, he said, shouldn't you be doing what?
Me, baptizing me.
So if he was already baptized, why would he make that statement? Water baptism we speaking of. He said, you come, and he said, suffer it to be so now. And he baptized Messiah, but who baptized John the Baptist? Or was he already baptized in his mother's womb?
He was filled with the Holy Spirit.
But that was fire baptism. But I'm talking about the water side of it. Who baptized him? Who circumcised Abraham?
Right.
Who? Abraham. So who baptized John the Baptist? That's all the questions we ask. And so when you understand that he hadn't been either water baptized or he felt that a second baptism has to take place with the Messiah, because he said, shouldn't you be doing me? Is it anywhere in the Bible you get double water baptized? So why would he make that statement unless what? Unless he wasn't what? What kind of baptism? Water baptized.
He had the Spirit. He was baptized full of the Spirit.
And Messiah told him, no, don't worry about that right now, partner. You know, we took care of that business. Remember you was kicking like Jan Stenerud in your mama's stomach?
I was going to say he was already in water. He was surrounded by.
Say that again, sis.
He was in water.
He was already in water. Let's read some more. Where we at?
Y'all ain't ready for none of that.
Go ahead, finish that out, Elijah. Because this is going to be a situation with the age. Some write and say something, but y'all still have to understand there's still a process of how old you be. The conception is not to the point the time start counting at that point. She didn't have a baby at that age. Go ahead, Elijah. Go ahead.
Verse 23.
What it say?
But perceiving herself daily to grow big.
Hold down, y'all. Go ahead.
But perceiving herself daily to grow big and being afraid, she went home and hid herself from the children of Israel, and was 14 years old when all these things happened.
Do yours say 16?
Yep.
In your book. See, so some will say 14 or 16, you know, so that's the what we come to on certain things like, y'all, and this is not, and what I want to explain here, this don't make this book not valid, because everything is matching up all the events. When we talking about age, there's some things like in the book of Mark versus Matthew and Luke, when it talks about Peter would deny the Messiah 3 times before the cock crows, and it said thrice, but in Mark it says twice. So which one is book should you count as righteous? But we don't worry about that, because what we're looking at is, did everything happen where it was supposed to be happening? Now, what it was, we were talking about, the question was, when Levi asked, how old was she when she gave birth? Now, like I say, that one said 14, but that's pregnancy right there. She's growing. So what we're talking about is how old was she when he was birthed? You know, but this is not a man having a 14-year-old girl. This is not no man coming into her. So let's just get that out of your mindset. Joseph didn't have a 14-year-old girl, but this young girl had to be pure. She had to stay pure. The more she go up, the stronger her menstrual get, and the stronger it continue to get. And it's going to be to a point where it's outside. Then she would have to become barren again to start it back over, because the womb would go dead. The more she get, the more chances she get into sinning. So this conception had to start early. Yeah. Like I say, the virgins may be old just a bit on age, and it does this again. Well,
that's what Jacob in there kicking people out. I think that was Patriarchal, the bar.
Okay. Well, so
Damn, Ariel. That's Ariel.
Oh,
I think he took what he said, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what we're talking about, y'all, so also in these texts, y'all understand that we're going to get to a point where it talks about Joseph's age. And this is a lot of times I tell people, be ready to explain every instance in these lost books. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain it from what's in the Bible, that a similar event happened, that 2 people was watching same thing, but there's is it say, did the cock crow twice, or did it crow 3 times? I mean, deny him 3 times, or the kid is how many times does a rooster crow in succession? 1 time. Or do they do
Well, it's just like you get a different account from different witnesses. You know, someone saw it from this perspective, someone saw it from that perspective, and a different perspective. They give an account of the same situation or the same event. However, certain little things may be inconsistent, like time.
Like the book of Joshua and the book of Genesis.
Right.
It's more detailed than the other.
So they may get into it, but what I'm going to tell you also again, and when we're talking about age, sometimes things, I don't know if it's misprint or what, but the subject matter has not changed. There's nothing we read about Mary and this coming up. We get to this point and it talks about the age of pregnant. Like I say, that book says 16. This one says 14 when she became pregnant. But what we got to take our mindset, a man did not impregnate a 14-year-old girl. That's what we want you to understand. If the Messiah had got her pregnant at 12, she may have been too young to handle the birth. So regardless, however this is, if she was at the end of 14, finna turn 15, she's almost 16 when this child is born, because she still got to go 9 months or so for a child to be born.
Not only that, the events never changed the fact that the archangel came to her and told her she would be overshadowed by the Holy Ghost, and that which will be of her will be from the Most High, and not by a man or by Joseph.
That's right.
So that doesn't change. In every account of her and the birth, it says that she was visited by an archangel of the Lord, and he told her that
she would be
prophecy that she would be overshadowed by the Holy Ghost and be conceived with child.
And the question I still ask, was that Joseph?
See, and no, we know it wasn't, because the dream is coming to him. You ain't got to convince a man to know he was there. Do you? Who you going to convince? Hell, he know if he was there or not, don't he? Or he just straight lying. But this is what I want to say about the lost books. I'll say there's another event in here when it talks about how old Joseph was. We may get to this when Joseph died. This book say he was 111 when he died. That age makes it impossible for when the Messiah died at 33. Because if he's 70 years old when Mary became pregnant, and he died at 170, and no, he said he died at 111. So there's a 10-year gap there, because the Messiah was put to death at 33. That means he had to been 30. He had to be 31 when he died, for Joseph to be 111 when he died, because that makes 41 years versus 31 years in Christ's life. See, at 31, if that should have been, instead of 111, it should have been 101. So it could be a typo, but when you understand the script, it couldn't have been that age, because the Messiah was 33 when he died. For Joseph to be 30 years older than him and die at 111, then Messiah would have to be at least 41. And we know he left this earth before at 33 and a half. So it's just math issues, y'all, that we're looking at, but we see the exact story is lining up. I'm just telling you these things because I went over them to be able to answer in case anybody asks you some questions. Just like, I'm going to say this, we're going to move on. In other books that are out here, it talks about it says Catholic Church. Some people want to see right there, Tobias, what is that in? Where it talks about the Catholic Church. See, most people don't understand Catholic has nothing to do with the Roman doctrine. It's when they put Roman on it. They say Roman Catholic Church. But Catholic, no matter what concordance you look it up, you know what it means? Universal Church. Now, when you say Roman Catholic, you say the Roman Universal Church. If you say Hebrew Catholic, it's the Hebrew University Church. There's nothing else that ties Catholic with the Romans before Roman Catholicism took over. That's why it's called Roman Catholicism, or the Roman Universal Church. It's a total different church mirroring Christ's church, universal church. Because his is a universal church when you get into Zechariah 14. What is the Feast of Tabernacles? Who coming up to the Feast of Tabernacles? Who coming up? Every nation coming up, right? So that's a universal church. That's what it says. It never says Holy Roman Catholic Church. It says the Catholic Church. And then it also gets in there where it says Sabbath Sunday. Somebody look at that, but when you bag it up, it's talking about a feast day on a high holy day. And it said you must do a Sabbath the next day, which is the first day of the week. It never said Sunday is the first day of the week and it's the Sabbath day. You have to read back up and see that it mentioned that this was a high holy day. It was a feast day going on, and that next day had, like the day of Pentecost. Right. We have to look at that as a Sabbath day, but it's always the first day of the week. The Pentecost always gonna fall on a Sunday, and you treat it like a Sabbath. It's always gonna do that. Anybody got any questions out there before we keep going? Y'all, we just gonna get through one more chapter then we're gonna get right into these scripts and we're gonna get on out of here. Y'all had none of these going over there, y'all. We on point. Where we at? We just don't want y'all to get famished. We want y'all to be on this. Go ahead.
Finished that Protoviangeline.
Y'all know those herbal teas sitting up on top, y'all. Even one of those herbal teas right there. So if y'all.
Hibiscus, thyme, lemongrass, and cinnamon.
And we also have, y'all can't get out, we still got a little Kool-Aid left over there. We know y'all weaning y'allself. Go ahead, where we at?
We just finished.
Chapter 10.
Okay, let's get this. Now we finna get into it, y'all, so y'all understand, and we're gonna get right into these supernatural births so y'all can understand what we talking here. We get right back in the scripture so everybody kind of join back in, so to speak. Go ahead, where we at?
Chapter 10, verse 1.
What it say?
And when her 6th month was come, Joseph returned from his building houses abroad, which was his trade.
Which was his what?
Trade.
See, men always had jobs back then. That's a trade. That's an occupation. Whatever you do that you get paid servile work for, that's your trade. That's your occupation. Wasn't nobody just in the temple serving the temple talking about that's my job. Go ahead, read some more.
Okay, 1 again. And when her 6th month was come, Joseph returned from his building houses abroad, which was his trade, and entering into the house, found the virgin grown big.
Wait a minute. Now you left, she had washboard abs. Mm-hmm. Now you come back, she got the pumpkin belly.
This 6 months later.
Go ahead.
Then smiting upon his face, he said, with what face can I look up to the Lord my Elohim? Or what shall I say concerning this young woman?
How am I going to answer for her if she's supposed to be under my protection? How am I answering for that? So, y'all ain't putting the book up no more too bad?
He doing it.
Okay. Oh, you doing it now? Okay. What's up? Okay.
Y'all have to forgive me for not putting it on the board. But we ain't got no virus protection, and when I go online, this thing be tripping.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
Okay, verse 3.
Yeah.
For I received her a virgin out of the temple of the Most High, and have not preserved her such.
Okay.
Who has thus deceived me?
Look, either he looking in the mirror saying this or somebody else deceived. He said, who deceived me? Do this sound like he knew her and then didn't know her no more? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, right.
Who has committed this evil in my house?
In my house?
And seducing the virgin from me, have defiled her.
Right? This the kicker right here.
Is not the history of Adam exactly accomplished in me?
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. What is he talking about? Physical or spiritual?
Somebody
What is he talking about? We're talking about a supernatural event first. And we're gonna get to the wicked side of that about Cain, and we're gonna hit a couple scriptures to make sure was his conception when he's talking about the same thing that happened to Adam has happened to me. You know, what is he talking about? Or is he talking about a deceiver came when I was gone? And like Adam was in the garden, but he wasn't where Eve and Satan was. He was handling business over here to help me like a man go to the field and work, woman at home.
So they lying on.
Why you think the mailman always get all of the bad trouble? And the FedEx delivery man, because he come knocking at the door.
When the man
at work.
A man at work, working, doing those hours of labor.
How do you stop by a house you already live in?
Adam was
What?
king of the world, so he could have been anywhere.
He's king of the world. He was in the garden, because we know it happened inside the garden, but how big is the garden? But what I'm saying is they were not in the same location, or this is the biggest chump sucker on earth. You watch another man mack your woman in front of you?
Without a brick?
Without a brick, yeah. I'm talking about, this is what y'all would have to say if Adam was standing right there when Eve got deceived. He either have to be just crazy or, like you say, a man just come up and start talking to your woman while you right there.
Yeah, in that case, he could have stopped and you
He could have stopped that.
He wouldn't be a snake.
He could have slapped the apple out of hand, huh?
Right.
The apple. He could have slapped the apple out of hand.
Right. If it was apple. See, right.
Put that apple down.
Face. He ain't hide nothing.
But it's just like, and y'all know, y'all just had the club scene. You go to the bathroom, Slick
Soon
Willie
as you
ease
walk
up
away.
to your table. I see you drinking bottled water. Looks like your palate requires something clear, like water. How about a little this Grey Goose on me? And then you come back.
Where you get this drink from?
Yeah, why your water in a drink glass?
Cause it ain't water.
He bought it for me. It's gonna be trouble, ain't it?
Yeah.
Boy, say, unless he buy you one. Well, you better be careful. They like it both ways, boy. They may have you some boxer shorts. They look like the front. Yeah, go ahead. Let's get it, y'all. Let's speed it up.
But they put up the argument that Joseph did it, but he's
saying I didn't
clearly
do it.
saying I ain't even touched the woman.
Right.
And how she stopped by a house she already live at?
Yeah, that's what we talking
That
about.
question again.
Yeah. How she stopped by a house she already live in? They sound like Mary was living somewhere else. They say, because free case rating them and say,
That's what we talking about.
Judea, tomorrow. And who else lived in Judea? Joseph. You got another group out there saying
And so did Mary.
Zachariah got Mary pregnant. Elizabeth's husband.
They confused.
And he couldn't speak, so what did he talk her? How did he talk her?
A good game.
No, he texted her. Okay, let's go ahead. What we got right there? Go ahead.
DCA's got a question. It just says, so Adam and Mary had 36 children, but Mary had other children after having the Messiah. Question mark. And Joseph had kids before him.
36.
Adam and Eve had 60 children, both sons and daughters. That's what the script say. I don't know where they got the 36 at, but what I'm talking about is did Mary and Joseph have any children? Is it recorded that Jesus had a little brother?
Nope.
Because you know why? When he was on the cross, what did he tell her? Who's your, he said, mother,
John,
behold, your son.
Yeah.
And he pointed to John, that disciple whom he loved. And he said, John, behold, thy what?
Mother.
Thy mother. Take care of my mama, man.
Yeah. Handle that business.
You her godson. This your godson, mother. He got you till you dead.
He gonna hold you down.
He gonna hold you down. Does that clear it up?
She ain't saying nothing else yet.
Okay. Well, that's all it is. But like saying, she just asking a question, though.
Right.
She just from a question, but we give her another one. If she had other children, John, who he loved, his disciple who he loved, he'd have said, Mama, don't forget about my other little brother, little Yeshua. Mm-hmm. He's right there. He got you, Mama. That wasn't said. It was passed to John, the disciple whom he loved. Mm-hmm. Where we at? And the problem is that John banished to the Isle of Patmos, not John the Baptist. The John the Revelator. Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at?
We had just
Verse 6.
Yes, sir. Let's speed this up, y'all. We're going to get on through.
Let me hear 5 again.
Go ahead.
Is not the history of Adam exactly accomplished in me?
Right.
For in the very instant of his glory, the serpent came and found Eve alone and seduced her.
What did he find Eve?
Alone.
See, so Adam was not right there. He was in the garden, but he wasn't there. Look, you can be in the basement and the mailman knock at the door and pass something without your knowledge.
Yes.
You just in the basement, you didn't answer the door.
Mm-hmm.
You better start answering the door. Let's get it. Where we at?
Verse 8.
What it say?
Then Joseph, arising from the ground, called her and said, O thou who hast been so much favored by Yahweh, why hast thou done this? Why hast thou debased thy soul? Who was educated in the Holy of Holies and received thy food from the hand of angels?
And if you think that's supernatural, then we receive our food by the hands of angels in the desert.
In the wilderness.
What did we get to eat?
Manna.
What was it called?
Manna bread.
And the food of who?
Angels.
Let's read some more.
Angels food.
Let's
Angel
read
food.
some more.
Not devil's food.
Verse 10.
What it say?
But she, with the flood of tears, replied, I am innocent and have known no man. Then said Joseph, how comes it to pass you are with child? Mary answered, as the Most High liveth, I know not by what means. Then Joseph was exceedingly afraid and went away from her, considering what he should do with her. And he thus reasoned with himself. If I conceal her crime.
If I do what?
Conceal her crime.
So he's thinking it's a crime. Her crime, not our crime.
I mean, he didn't have no parts of it.
He had nothing to do with
He
that.
wasn't even there.
Go ahead.
I shall be found guilty by the law of the Most High.
So he's partaking in somebody else's sin. That's what he's saying. I'm guilty. We can't partake in nobody else's sin. What you saying? It wouldn't have been a sin.
It clearly
Absolutely,
said
bro.
her husband.
Go ahead. Well, I see your wheels turning. You done woke up. Go ahead.
And if I discover her to the children of Israel, I fear, lest she being with child by an angel, I shall be found to betray the life of an innocent person.
So they knew that this could come and this was supposed to happen. He said, lest if I find out she pregnant by an angel, so we have to look. Okay, is he killed an angel's child? But we got to understand, what is he calling an angel? So it can't be the Holy Spirit. If you calling that, if she's overshadowed that, then you calling an angel the Holy Spirit. Some out there teach that this was Gabriel. He conceived in Mary. That's going to be a problem.
Nope.
That's going to be a problem because, see, he's throwing both things out there. Understand what he's doing? He's throwing both things out there. Is this like Genesis 6 chapter? Is this like the Watchers?
Is this going to be a giant?
Is this going to be a giant? Is this going to be, is it going to be discovered this way? Is this going to be a Nephilim? Is Satan got in here like Adam? Okay, so we got to get in here and see, is it really talking about where we stand with Cain? And we're going to get on the wicked side of this
But you got to think, him being a just man, he's trying to balance the idea of what it could be. He's not just simply just going, oh, I just can't deal with this. He's trying to balance, like, well, maybe I need to look at this way, because I know she did eat from the angel. She was dedicated to the temple. I know she wouldn't do this, but at the same time, I know the devil, he wicked too. He done some things in the past that I know that might affect me now. So he was pretty much in a balance with it.
That's right. That's right. Common denominator you're trying to get to. Go ahead, Elijah. Let's catch it up. Yeah.
What therefore shall I do? I will privately dismiss her.
Okay.
Then the night was come upon him, when behold, an angel of the Most High appeared to him in a dream.
They just matching up?
And said, be not afraid to take that young woman, for that which is within her is of the Holy Ghost. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. Then Joseph arose from his sleep and glorified the Elohim of Israel, who has shown him such favor and preserved the virgin.
So we're going to read just the last chapter. I want y'all to finish reading all of it, but this last chapter we're going to talk about, because it's going to bring up Numbers, the 5th chapter, the jealousy law. They had to still perform this test. They could not. Y'all, where y'all think the term truth serum came from? Yo, there was a serum the priest used to give you. They weren't going to just keep battling and arguing about who lying. No, we say we got some oil that we going to give you right here. And if you lying, your thigh going to rot.
You going to start itching to death.
And when you're talking about the thigh, you know what's going to rot. They're going to be smelling a mile away.
Your loins.
Like big cat country out in Forest Park.
Be
Every
hard
day.
to gird them up that way.
All day.
Chapter 11, verse 1. Then came Annas, the scribe, and said to Joseph, wherefore have we not seen you since your return?
Yeah, they like, we know you went on your job, but we ain't seen you around. You forsaken the assembly.
You've been hiding out?
You Hebrews 10:25, you forsaken the assembly. Go ahead.
And Joseph replied, because I was weary after my journey, and rested the first day.
Right.
But Annas turning about perceived the virgin big with child.
See, so he ain't thrown away, she's still with him. Go ahead.
And went away to the priest and told him, Joseph, in whom you place so much confidence, is guilty of a notorious crime, in that he hath defiled the virgin whom he received out of the temple of the Most High. and have privately married her.
And have privately done what?
Married.
See, y'all, this is what it's talking about, a private marriage. It wasn't for two witnesses to see. Y'all have to understand, private don't mean 500 guests and wedding lists, all that. It means two witnesses. Your parents, her parents, or your brothers and his brothers, or your brothers and his sisters, a formal wedding that where if anything was said, you got witnesses, and all it takes is two, y'all. You go out to the courthouse right now and they'll set up and they say, y'all bring witnesses with y'all. No, we ain't got nobody. Well, okay, I'm the judge and the court stenographer are the witnesses today. We will sign off two witnesses. And look, what's better than point? Look, get on countyrecords.com. You'll see if we are there because it's public knowledge. Just like every divorce is public knowledge. So right here, they asking the questions here. Go ahead, Elijah, finish that up. Verse 4.
4. And went away to the priest and told him, Joseph, whom you place so much confidence, is guilty of a notorious crime in that he had defiled the virgin whom he had received of the temple of the Most High, and have privately married her, not discovering it to the children of Israel.
See, he ain't told nobody, y'all. This is what we talking about. These are the marriages when you're talking about man, sex is marriage. That's true. That's one part of it that consummated. But there has to be public acknowledgement before you do it. So somebody get a chance to say no. Even if she's still a virgin, they say she's in an arranged marriage for Ruth as soon as he get out of jail. Or as soon as he come back from overseas, from war, she's already spoken for it. That's why it had to be public knowledge so that could be, and they do it today. They say, if anyone got any say to stand up before I say the final word, y'all stand up or forever hold your peace. Because you can't bring it up after. So in like manner, the same things are done, y'all. We're not just looking at them because we don't understand. We've been given another directive of that all people is thinking about is below the navel with marriage, with marriage only. Go ahead, what you got, bro?
Oh, this right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, where we at, bro?
Verse 5.
What it say?
Then said the priest, have Joseph done this?
Right.
Annas replied, if you send any of your servants, you will find that she is with child.
See, he said, hey, man, you send somebody over there, she pregnant, man. Either that or she just got out of control at the Golden Corral and kept going back for seconds or third, but she either pregnant or I'm crazy. Go ahead, what else to say?
And the servants went and found it as he said. Upon this, both she and Joseph were brought to their trial.
Brought to what?
Their trial.
Y'all see how serious this was in Israel? Look, we bring y'all to trial. If you got any older cousins or auntie, go down to Mississippi and talk about we just girlfriend and boyfriend and see if you go in the same room. You be like, who is that blanket and pillow for out here?
You can't do that in my house.
That's where you sleep.
You can't do that in my house.
She sleeps here. Absolutely, bro. But I'm just saying the practice was always there. What y'all do in St. Louis, don't bring down here to Mississippi down south. We don't play that. You sleep out here. Go ahead, what you saying, bro?
Early parts of this country, when they used to have a young man and young lady sleeping in the same house as was married, they would sew up a little sheet around the woman, like a whole sheet around the body. And if they
Like a covering, a whole, like a whole cover.
So she couldn't.
That ain't gonna stop. You need to sew more than that, boy. You gonna have to sew her clothes. That's the only way you gonna stop.
Stop Israel, boy.
Gotta put needle and thread there.
Saying put his zipper in the back.
Boy, right. Let's get it. Where we at? Let's get caught up because I got a couple scripts, y'all, we need to hit.
Upon this both she and Joseph were brought to their trial. And the priest said unto her, Mary, what hast thou done? Why hast thou debased thyself, thy soul, and forgot thy Elohim, seeing thou wast brought up in the Holy of Holies, and didst receive thy food from the hands of angels, and heardest their songs? Why hast thou done this? To which with a flood of tears she answered, as my Elohim liveth, I am innocent in his sight, saying, I know no man.
I don't know no man. I'm telling y'all, I'm innocent of this. But look, they keep asking her, you were brought up in the what of holies of what?
Holies of holies.
So she was back there with the priests. Y'all clearly got to understand where she was. She was just like Adam and Eve.
The spirit of the Most High would come down and rest and talk face to face with the priest, high priest, and give them instructions.
That's right.
And guidance.
That's right.
She was right there in the midst when his spirit would come down and conversate.
But there was order. It was still the man with the head under, but she was right in there.
To witness.
So, and that's the same thing and when it talks about in 2 Tim chapter 2, verse 12 through 15, it say the same thing. I suffer not a woman teeth, nor, but the key word says to usurp authority. Eve usurped authority on Adam. She didn't tell him to shut up. She just went beyond her control of being a vice president. She did what Jezebel did with Ahab. She took that signature ring and said, okay, I'll listen to you.
I got you.
Let me show you.
A tree one to be desired. So she took and usurped authority, but it gets right back into the childbearing and say, but if you in sobriety understand what happened in the beginning, you shall be saved in childbearing. And once that true submission is understood, you won't be having pain like that. When you have a baby, yeah, it'll be just the initial pain, but all that hollering and needing epidural, that won't be there. It'll be just pluka. Another one. Pluka. Another one.
Blue.
Can y'all confess to that?
Where we at? Where we at?
I don't think the sisters can.
Verse 11.
What it say?
12.
Go ahead.
Then the priest said to Joseph, why hast thou done this? And Joseph answered, as the Lord my Elohim liveth, I have not been concerned with her. But the priest said, lie not, but declare the truth. Thou hast privately married her, and not discovered it to the children of Israel, and humbled thyself under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that thy seed might be blessed.
See, and y'all, this is what we talk about. We understand things having a full hand. We just saying eventually you're going to have to do part one. Eventually you're going to have to do part one. This is not going to stand up in a court of law.
We's married.
This ain't going to stand up when you go to a funeral home if somebody died and you got to take control of it. This ain't going to work in intensive care. None of this is going to work unless you can prove that I am the protector. And this is, like some like to say, you my possession, and you ain't got nothing, no paperwork, but you got the warranty for them brakes from AutoZone. You'll argue them down. Lifetime warranty. Lifetime warranty. Well, ain't this supposed to be a lifetime warranty? And you ain't got no receipt.
Well, won't argue that.
Let's read some more.
Because you willingly want to get rid of that responsibility. Verse 15.
Yeah.
Joseph was silent. Then said the priest to Joseph, you must restore to the temple of the Elohim the virgin which you took thence. But he wept bitterly. And the priest added, I will cause you both to drink the water of the Most High, which is for trial. And so your iniquity shall be laid open before you. Then the priest took the water and made Joseph drink, and sent him to a mountainous place. And he returned perfectly well.
How he returned?
Perfectly well. And all the people wondered that his guilt was not discovered.
Right.
So the priest said, since the Most High have not made your sins evident, neither do I condemn you. So he sent them away. Then Joseph took Mary and went to his house, rejoicing and praising the Elohim.
Now y'all read all of the rest of that book, and we want to get right into Numbers 5 right now. So I'm gonna tell you, this is what we would do, and this was before that this is the truth sermon. And look, the Most High put the same thing on Adam and Eve. Didn't he bring all of them to trial? And Satan, then they all go to trial, and each one of them was given a charge. All three of them was indicted. You know why they was indicted? Because all of them confessed that they played some part in that crime. Let's hit Numbers 5th chapter. And this is the law of jealousy. So this is what they did with him to verify if somebody was tripping. This is where the term truth serum came from.
Verse 12.
You want to start at 12? Okay, that's where we at there. Let's get it, y'all. Numbers 5.
Verse 12.
Sorry, 11.
11.
Yeah.
And the Elohim spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept closed, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner.
See, and there was no witness against Mary when Joseph was asking her all these things. Numbers 5 and 12, we in y'all 13. So you see what this book is bringing forth. It's the same exact thing we seeing in the record, y'all. The summary, the text is going perfectly. Just like the one person say, well, I don't trust Luke. And it's this one boy teaching that I don't trust Luke. Really don't trust the Bible. None of it, really.
Don't trust
He said, I don't trust Luke, but I trust Matthew except for the last verse when it says that the Messiah was born of Mary. See, that was supposed to be begot like the rest of them. Okay, so you trusted all but the last verse, so you don't even trust the book you trust. See, it don't line up with First Chronicles. Well, First Chronicles still got a problem too, because it's saying the two boys you talking about, Zerubbabel and his daddy, all 3 chapters got a different granddaddy. All 3 of them got a different granddaddy. How you gonna point to one and what you trust? And then what you say, I'm an old Mitch. You're going to throw out Luke, but you talking about a book that shows Adam and Eve got natural parents. You're going to throw out Luke, but you ain't thrown that one in yet into the pile where we can go research it. Let's read some more. Where we at?
Verse 14. And the spirit of jealousy come unto him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled.
See, so it comes on both. You assuming some things. The devil messing with you. She messing with the mailman. Watch out for FedEx driver. Look out for that Taco Bell. The guy that work at the window keep giving her extra taco sauce. You better watch out. And she be not defiled. It's jealousy. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 15.
What it say?
Then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest.
Ain't that what we just saw? Go ahead.
And he shall bring her an offering for her, the 10th part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity into remembrance. 16. And the priest shall bring her near, and set her before the Elohim. And the priest shall take holy water in the earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it into the water.
So we got here more of where it starts off if the woman are married. They were espoused, but they didn't say engaged, but they hadn't had the formal wedding ceremony. So Joseph was forced to drink the water. So we're going to start with you first, because we put in your protection, this a young child, but this is still talking about jealousy, because Joseph was jealous. But it was a difference because he was looking more of a protector situation, where this kind of bringing in the same story is just saying if a man after they've been married 5 years and jealousy come up on him, or he's jealous before the marriage, it's covering all angles, but it's who get to drink the water based on where the crime is at. Like Eve, he asked her, what did I tell you? You said don't listen to it and don't touch it. Did you do it? Yep, I did it. See, what he asked her was different from what he asked Adam. He said, Adam, what did I tell you? He like, look, I was cool till you brought me that woman. I was fine. No, he wasn't. You right. Go ahead.
That's why he brought him the woman. He wasn't fine.
Because he wasn't fine.
It wasn't fit for man to be alone in the first place.
Go ahead. Let's get this, y'all.
Verse 18.
What it say?
And the priest shall set the woman before the Lord, and uncover the woman's head, and put the offering of a memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that caused the curse. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, if no man have lain with thee, and if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bitter water that causeth the curse. But if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, and if thou be defiled, and some man have lain with thee beside thine husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, and the priest shall say unto the woman, the Elohim make thee a curse, and an oath among the people. When the Elohim doth make thy thigh to rot.
Make that thigh to what?
Rot.
Y'all, it ain't really her thigh. It's up a little bit higher. It's what separates the thighs that'll rot.
And thy belly to swell.
Right?
And this water that caused the curse shall go into thy bowels, to make thy belly swell, and thy thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. And the priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall blot them out with the bitter water. And he shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that caused the curse. And the water that caused the curse shall enter to her and become bitter.
So skip down to verse 29, y'all. So for time's sake, y'all read all that. I'm just trying to get to it because I got about 5 or 6 more scriptures before that 5 o'clock hour. And I ain't got much time. And I'm talking quick, and I ain't going to be long-winded. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 5, verse 29.
Yeah.
This is the law of jealousy.
Jealousy. So y'all see it covers multiple forms of jealousy. But it all still come down to the water. Whether it's a man or it's a woman, it's coming down to the water, the truth serum. And y'all, you know what the truth serum is? It's that living water. That's what it's coming down to, that bear the truth in your consciousness. It's the living water, because Elohim know it and he'll visit you in a dream. You know that was you. You know that was you. And they'll look at your conscience the next day and know it was you. Or that offspring that's going to be born going to look more like you than your children of your wife. Let's get some more. Where we at?
29. This is the law of jealousy. When a wife goeth aside to another instead of her husband and is defiled. Or when the spirit of jealousy cometh upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before the Elohim, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from iniquity, and this woman shall bear her iniquity.
So right here, y'all, we see that matches up perfectly with what we was reading about the spirit of jealousies. You know, so, and men was on it back then. They didn't play the funnies. You know, and that was just about pregnancy of somebody else's woman. They like, we're not going to play these games around Israel. We're not going to start this. We already got a fatherless and widow problem. We don't need this. We don't need a bunch of men running around talking about how I know it's mine. If you ask that question, it's a problem already.
So this ain't the Maury show.
Right. What you mean, how you don't know if it's yours? Then that means you acknowledging that you know it's probably a threesome going on. Who else do you think it could be if it's not yours?
Right.
Let's get right into these scriptures, y'all, these supernatural events, y'all. I'm going to hit them quickly, and then we're gonna get right into what's called questionable. Abraham, Genesis 17, y'all, we're just going to read a couple quick ones. Genesis 17, y'all, we're going to show just supernatural birth of the barren and the eunuch, or what we're calling the dry tree. See, Abraham and Sarah never ever decided they was going to find out who it was, not Abraham at least, which one of us can't have children. See, because both of them was given the blessing from the Most High. Not once did Abraham say, woman, it's been 80 years and we ain't had no. Y'all have to think about it. She was 80, he was 90. Y'all know how long they had been together? When he first brought her in, because she was 10 years old. He wasn't with her at 10, but she was promised to him at 10, and then when she became of age, he took her to wife. But just like the same thing with Isaac. Rebecca was young, but they sent the nurse Deborah with her. You read about her in Genesis 35 chapter, and also in the book of Naphtali. You'll see her nurse was there. She run Isaac out of there. You better get on out of there, Isaac. She ain't ready yet. But we get right back to Ezekiel 16 when the Messiah tells us when he engaged Israel. He said, when your wall was grown up, meaning when you had spiritual breath, so to speak, and her covered certain places, said, then I'll put my covering over you. Not before. This is not no pedophile doctrine. This is not the R. Kelly show. Where we at, bro? We're going to Genesis 17 and 1. Yeah, what it say?
Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9.
99.
The Elohim appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with him, saying, As for me, behold my covenant with thee, and thou shalt be the father of many nations.
One nation, the nation of Israel.
Of many nations.
Okay, go ahead.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made thee.
And see, this is how when you know spiritual apostles, because when the Most High visits you, your name get changed. This is how you know, like Israel's name was changed from Jacob to Israel, a prince. So, and then Sarah's name was changed as well. Sarah. So we understand when the Most High visits you, he changed name, and he ain't got to change Abraham no more, because his name will be Abraham in the kingdom. It says many from the east and west will come and sit down with who?
Abraham.
In the word?
Kingdom.
Okay, so we clear on what his name should be. We just got to find out what our name was. We got to figure out, look, we gave each other name with coming up. Jake and Moses gave me Daniel Solomon, which means peaceful judgment. He's Jacob, you know, and Moses and Elisha. To run off a bird, run off them children and talk about. So he got it on, you know. And that's right, you know. So, and Boaz, so y'all, these names are the names we must live by. But we have to be careful that we don't let the dark side get on them names. If you promote what it means, you have to walk in that spirit.
You should know what that name means.
You should know what that name means. You just can't grab a name and don't know what it means if somebody asks you. But that's still not the name that we hope to see in the book of life.
That he gonna assign to it.
You got to know that name, because we see the ones who know what they were called. Go ahead, bro. Where we at?
Genesis 17.
Yeah.
Verse 6, my bad. I forgot I was reading. And I will make thee an exceeding fruit, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee.
Now you can hold right there. We'll skip down to verse 15. Y'all read all of that. Because it talks about Abraham was uncircumcised, and all this righteousness, he was not circumcised at this point. So don't battle with nobody about Galatians 3. That's all Paul is talking about is Abraham. Y'all notice why he keep talking about Abraham. This is what he's trying to tell you. Like, look, I'm magna cum laude in the priesthood of Aaron. I know it. I used to put people to death about the priesthood of Aaron. I know that, but I didn't know Melchizedek. I'm telling y'all, Abraham, well, you sitting up here talking to me about circumcision, and Abraham already said he gonna be in the kingdom, had his name changed, and he was 90 and 9 and still had that look.
He wasn't circumcised yet.
In the flesh.
Let's read some more.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 15. And Yahweh said to Abraham, As for Sarah, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarah.
Sarai. What is that, Sarai? That's what it was first.
Sarai. Okay. Sarai. But Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yeah, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Go ahead.
Then Abram fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old be old barren? And Abraham said unto Yahweh, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
So what we're looking at is him. This is after Ishmael was born. He like, wait a minute, you know, maybe it's Sarah is oh, I'm old. Like, do you mean Ishmael? See, this was after Hagar was given. Hagar was given in the 16th chapter. I mean, not what we'll see it. In 16, we'll see that, when you read the 16, what does it say? Read that for me, 16.
16, 16 and what, 10?
6 and 1, 16 and 1.
Oh, you want to go to 1?
Right, just 1 right there really quick.
Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian.
Who?
Handmaid, an Egyptian whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abraham, behold, now the Elohim had restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened unto the voice of Sarah.
What Abraham do?
Hearkened.
No, he said, shut up, you don't know what you talk about, shut. But I like the idea. What'd he say?
Hearkened unto the voice of Sarah. And Sarah, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abraham to be his wife.
See, to be his what?
Wife.
So now she comes under the protection rule from Abraham, not a sideshow. So you'll see the inheritance that when Abraham gave his inheritance, he gave him to his wife, and it says his concubine. But the inheritance only going to Sarah, children, Keturah's children, and Hagar's children. That's the only thing you see his inheritance. If some people try to say, well, he had more wives, he had concubines. Well, a second wife is considered a concubine. She's called the lower standard wife. She's below the main woman, so to speak. So that's why I said concubine. Or you have to find where it says, but he bare these no children. And you have to find the name of those concubines, like it named all the Davids. So it's either 3 or the concubines, which is secondary wife. Hagar was secondary. Keturah was third after both of them died. But he technically only had 2 women at one time, but one was run off. You know, and then when both those died, then he took Keturah. But when you're talking about when they're summing up Abraham's life, all you have to do is look in Genesis 25, look in the book of Jubilees 20, I believe, and also Jasher 25, and you'll see the same 3 women and an inheritance to their children. Now, if he had other concubines, they didn't get no inheritance, and that ain't, you can't put that free case on Jacob. And not only this, but you see him and Jacob when you're under Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom, Dre.
Shalom, brother.
When you under them, under that covenant, everywhere we look, the woman said, take my handmaid. That's their property, so to speak. Pharaoh gave Hagar to Sarah. That wasn't Abraham's property. Now men say, well, right here, we can use it just as safe for he had many wives. But that still ain't saying that he can just go get a woman and bring her home. It don't mean that he just did this without her agreeing. All of that could have been agreeable. But they want to leave that part out so you can just bring anybody home at your own will. We don't have to, but everywhere we look at the patriarchs, I'm talking about patriarchs, the covenant people. Don't tell me about somebody else on this side. I'm talking about the covenant people. Righteous. Every woman that brought to them, their handmaid say, take mine, because they got into a jealousy war. And when you get into Jasher 17, she gonna spell it out. I was jealous of Hagar. Yo, see, these are jealousy wars. That's why you can't have them all up and out. You think that ain't gonna be no jealousy? Boy. Now she come out of the room, y'all sitting in there watching TV, 6 of y'all women, here she come out of the bedroom with that gown on with the hole in it. Y'all know the one. And that raggedy one you just put on, you know, so, and then she come out her looking like the James Brown arrest photo. You don't think the rest of them jealous about what went on in there? You cannot do it. It's not set up that way. It's jealousy. Give it high five. It's going to be jealousy.
Next.
No, it wasn't that. But that's what you're going to get, and you're going to have all of that fire just like in Hustle and Flow when you run the pimp game with this.
He didn't knock my wig loose.
He said he didn't knock my wig loose.
Right, he did. I don't get to wear the gown with the hole in it. You know, that's the one they cook in, you know. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to keep it where these shorty.
The round the house guy.
What we at right here, y'all? Did we finish that?
Got a question.
What's your question? Go ahead, sis.
So, but even though, if you will, even though Hagar was a princess, and so was Sarah, but if you will, the gift was from the master, and she was from him. So she got the the blessings, because even though she was a princess in her own right, and she was still a slave. But it still fell on the anointing.
Right.
One that created the anointing. Regardless to the fact that, the reason why I'm bringing this out, because there's a question.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless to whether she was a princess or not in her own right.
Right.
She was still not the one that was called.
No, she wasn't the one
Not
called.
the one that was anointed.
No.
Yeah.
They were both princesses.
Right.
But she was not the one that the father anointed.
Right.
For this particular time and season.
Absolutely. Holiness, let me tell you how, when you're speaking of she was anointed. Give me this real quick, Jasher 17. Give me that real quick, y'all. Real quick. So y'all can see how well Hagar was. She just wasn't no stand around person. And then why Sarah said, go ahead and do this.
Go ahead, like you want.
Go give me Jasher 17 and 27.
Yeah, she served the purpose though.
You said 17?
Yeah. Hold on. I want it right where she was nothing more than the righteous 17, 16, 17. Okay, yeah, go ahead. So it started at 22. No, I'll tell you what, started 23. 17 and 23, read that really quick so y'all won't think Sarah was just some stand around. Sarah was a daughter, Hagar was a daughter of Sarah. When you talk about the daughters of Sarah, let's read what Hagar was. Let's read. Huh?
You mean 16?
No, I want Jasher 17. No, I want 17
That's where I'm
and
at.
22. 16 and 20, hold on. 16, 22, y'all know what I want.
His page is turned.
No, yeah, go ahead. That's what I want. Is that where it's at?
And Sarah, the daughter of Haran, Abram's
Where y'all
wife.
at?
Is that what you're talking about?
14 and 22.
In the 8th year of Sarah, give me a 16 and
No, that's 27. That's
30 and the 30s. She was despised, my words, because she.
No, where y'all at? What y'all read? 16 and 22. Y'all at 22? Give me 22.
Make sure you get
16 and 22, it says, and in the 7th.
It ain't.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I
it's
want.
22, 16.
Let's get it.
That's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
That's where you got mine? Look right here. Get that. Get 16, 22.
16, 22.
Yeah.
Let me read it right here.
You sure? You sure? You sure?
Okay,
Slow, y'all.
that's what you want.
That's what I want. 16, 22.
You sure?
Let's get it, y'all. I want y'all to just understand about Hagar. Go ahead. And in the 78th year of the life of Abram, in that year died Ruah, the son of Peleg. And all the days of Ruah were 239 years, and he died. And Sarah, the daughter of Haran, Abram's wife, was still barren in those days. She did not bear to Abraham neither son nor daughter. And when she saw that she bare no children, she took her handmaid Hagar, whom Pharaoh had given her, and she gave her to Abraham, her husband, for a wife, not a trick on the side.
A side trick.
A wife. For Hagar learned all the ways of Sarah, as Sarah taught her. She was not in any way deficient in following her good ways.
She groomed.
And Sarah said to Abram, behold, here is my handmaid Hagar. Go it to her that she may bring forth upon my knees, that I may also bring children through her. And as you get into the 17th chapter, you'll see where she said, my wrong be upon me, just like she did in 16 of Genesis. She said, it's my fault, Abraham. I didn't believe the angel. And I brought Sarai. It's the same thing with Jacob and his wife. Jacob could have had 12 sons with Rachel by his one woman. We know family got 18 children by the same mother and father. So it's been easy for 12 tribes. There was jealousy and war in there that constantly bring these type things up. But I'm going to move on really quick because we got 15 minutes. But I just want to bring that into play so y'all understand.
This is what you wanted.
What I want.
It's
Yeah.
verse 30.
What it say?
And when Sarah saw that Hagar had conceived by Abram, Sarah was jealous of her handmaid.
Right.
And Sarah said within herself, this is surely nothing else but that she must be better than I am.
Better than I am, because now the reproach is really getting on her. God, he been with me 80 years and I couldn't conceive, and he just one time and she got the big belly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, what else to say?
And Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. For at the time when thou didst pray before the Most High for children, why didst thou not pray on my account, that the Most High should give me seed from thee?
See, and it's the same thing Rachel said to Jacob in the 30th chapter. She said, give me children or I die. Jacob like, wait a minute, am I God? Look, the rest of them got children, it ain't me.
Yeah.
Same thing, y'all. Same events happening over and over and over, because the initial design was to cut down on these arguments, and that's usually one man and one woman. Go ahead, bro. What else?
It says that when I speak to Hagar in thy presence, she despised my words because she has conceived, and thou wilt say nothing to her. May the Most High judge between me and thee for what thou hast done to me.
See, so now she's blaming Abraham because she despised. She walking around with the big belly showing. I mean, arching her back out extra.
Rubbing on.
And despised just rubbing at old Abraham's baby. Now, she's despised, but she set that up. But notice when you one flesh, Abraham had to go to the Lord, and the Lord said, do what your wife say. See, and this is what I want y'all to understand about one flesh. She brought that in. She was the one that got rid of it.
Yeah, handle her the way you want.
It said, now the thing displeased Abraham, not because of Hagar, but because he's got a child by Hagar. And you get into the 21st chapter of this Jash, and you see where he went to go see Ishmael when he was grown. He's like, I gotta go check on my child. And she, you going to see that heifer, ain't you? He's like, look, woman, I ain't gonna even get off my camel.
That's modern day right now.
Yeah.
So they've been clapping back.
Example. No, it's stupid. I can't use that. It's different.
But you see that Abraham still dealt with his responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Nonetheless, he still took care of that child.
And took care of
and blessed.
Right. So y'all, let's just want to get that as far as Abraham. Now, give me really quick. We're just gonna move to these three, and I just want to jump y'all on, and I'm gonna give y'all homework on the questionable, well, on the wicked side. But I just want to hit these last few, y'all. We're gonna get on out of here. So give me Romans 4 and 12 really quickly, and then y'all read Romans 4 and 12. Just hit the verse 12, and y'all read down to 22. Because it's something very important in here. Once again, what the writer Paul, who's understanding the order of Melchizedek now, is explaining to all those still stuck under the priesthood, or I should say the doctrine of the Pharisees, because they wasn't under Aaron's doctrine. They just was acting like Aaron. Didn't do nothing Aaron said.
Around this time, you still had the priests bringing in vagabonds who weren't even Levites into the priesthood and swearing them in as priests.
You want to start at 12?
Yeah, just hit 12. And y'all read on down. I just want them to read verse 12.
Romans chapter 4, verse 12.
What it say?
And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that first faith of our father Abraham.
So he says the father of circumcision. Yeah. So was Adam circumcised? No. Was Noah? All the way up to Abraham, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So it calls him the father of what?
Circumcision.
But it's really talking about the heart first. And then in the flesh. So y'all read on down to 22, and then you'll understand the promise of faith. See, Abraham's promise was to him in the faith that Messiah is coming to change this order around. You don't have to worry about this children problem no more. He had faith in that and grace. And when you get to 4:15, just hit me 4:15 right quick.
4:15?
And 14 and 15, go ahead.
Okay. For if they which were of the law be heirs of the faith, let me read that again. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void.
Faith is made void, because if you can get through the law to find out what's going on, you don't have to have faith to do the law. All you have to do is just be like in robot mode. I ain't gonna turn the light on. I ain't gonna do this. I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna drink beer because you made it. I ain't gonna do nothing. You have no faith. You are just in robot mode. You're just in commandment mode, so to speak, that I won't move because I have fear. But without faith, works is dead. So all you got is work. What are you doing it for? What is your hope and belief in?
All you got is faith.
Go ahead.
The order of Melchizedek was full of the order of Aaron. That's how Moses and Enoch, Adam, all these brothers.
That's how they were living by.
The main difference between Aaron and Melchizedek is how the law was transmitted.
Right.
The sacrifices.
Right.
Melchizedek is transmitted spiritually.
That's right. That's all he's telling them, and they want, and that's all we have to understand, y'all. So I just wanted to hit that 15.
Because, hold on, I ain't finished the 14.
Okay.
Let me 14 again. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise.
Read that again. Faith is made void.
Faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect. But because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end of the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all.
If you don't get back to it that in faith, you'll never understand trying to keep the law under the priesthood of Aaron. You will never understand this because the promise was before Mount Sinai. Way before Mount Sinai. If you don't get that in your mind, you ain't gonna understand what y'all, who was a master of the law of Aaron. So y'all, let's get right to it. I just want y'all read all of that down to 22 when you get a chance. I'm running. Let's hit me to Judges 13 really quick, and then we're gonna jump to John the Baptist. Then I'm gonna give you what's called questionable, and these are the conception, y'all. We're still talking about conception. Conception, that's all we concerned here with is conception and who's the legal father or who's been put in a legal father position. See, Abraham already had Ishmael. He was concerned then. That was his child. And look, you know what else Hagar was doing? She knew that her son rightfully should have gotten the blessing. Because if a man have a child, his firstborn child by the second wife, you can't leapfrog and put, if he have a child by his first wife later on, it don't go that way.
Right.
And this is what Esau was hooting and hollering about. So y'all, let's finish these up. I'm gonna hit these last few and we're gonna get on out of here. Judges 13.
Judges 13.
And this is about Samson.
Verse 1. And the children of Israel.
Hold on, let everybody get that. Judges 13, y'all, we about to get out of here. My time is looking good. I'm on point here.
You said 15 minutes ago.
Let's get it. Where we at?
Judges chapter 13, verse 1.
Yeah.
And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Elohim.
Right.
And Elohim delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was burned and burned not.
Y'all see this problem in Israel? Always, but men didn't just go chasing nobody else. They dealt with the situation they had. They took them vows seriously. Go ahead.
And the angel of the Elohim appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, thou art burned and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite of Elohim, from the womb.
From the where?
Womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
Now y'all read the rest of that when she go to her husband, because the angel gonna end up going to her husband too. But you see that he was a Nazarite. So when y'all get into number 6 chapter, that's the vow of the Nazarite.
6 and 5.
And you see that that's what he was preparing for. But he was baptized in the womb with the Holy Spirit at the same time. You see, a Nazarite from the womb, he was consecrated in his mother's womb.
To be a deliverer.
To be a deliverer. But it's totally different from Messiah, because her husband, it clearly states, just like Abraham was involved with the intercourse, just like Samson, mama and daddy, when you get through reading this, and John the Baptist, his mama and daddy. But when it gets down to Messiah, Mary and Joseph, we got a whole total different story. On this wise, wisdom. On this wisdom, it's a total situation different here. This is a set apart supernatural conception. I know the other ones and the supernatural part was on all these other women. They were barren and now they're made fruitful. That's the difference. That's the total difference. Mary never was with a man long enough to find out if she was barren. Never was. The Holy Spirit just overshadowed her right off, and she became pregnant. The minute she says, "Thy will be done," conception started like this. Who know how long conception takes? Who got a clock? Huh? See, they don't make the, when I think about it, pill after. It's the morning after pill. See, that's because they know how quick pregnancy can take place, conception can be made. So y'all, we're going to speed these right on up. Just want to show y'all, give me that Luke 1 through 5. Luke chapter 1 and 5. Then skip down to verse 24. And then I'm just going to show y'all the course of a beer, because I started off talking about the Holy Conception, the light. You know, and when y'all read that book of James, the Proviangelon 1 through 5 talks about when Mary gave birth to Messiah. I mean, further on down, it talks about when Mary gave birth to Messiah, there was no blood, and the midwife that delivered the Messiah went and told another midwife. She like, "You ain't gonna believe it." I'm talking about when he was starting to come out of the whole room lit up. You read 106th chapter of the book of Enoch, the same thing happened with Noah. But this was a different, and she said, "You know what's different about this one?" She said, "When I put my hand in her, there was no blood." And she, "No, you lying, you done got crazy, you done delivered too many babies." She said, "Tell you I'm coming." So the other midwife came and put her finger down there. "You ain't lying, you ain't lying." Same way, so y'all, when y'all get in after and y'all see the birth of Christ, you'll see the light that exploded at his birth and no blood.
That's true,
just like it said, y'all, because she couldn't go through that natural process like that. He couldn't be born with that blood of sin, because the blood is the curse.
And blood is for the remission of sin.
Yes, sir.
He was born without sin. There was no remission of sin for the birth of Christ. Also, if you look in the book of Sirach, chapter 17, you see the creation of man in Israel.
Yeah.
And then the creation of the Most High in chapter 18. And you see the difference between these two creations.
Right. And you see the difference in Mary by her two parents versus her having a natural earthly father. She had to still follow. That's why they say you got to get out the temple. They didn't say, they weren't saying that about her offspring. They was talking about her.
Yeah.
Because her mother and father are both fleshly, but it was a supernatural event to their daughter. But y'all, I want to just speed this up. Luke 1 and 5. Give me that real quick. Y'all, we almost out of here. I'm working this time. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 1, verse 5.
I ain't going to comment on y'all. Just for y'all to just get a little homework in. Go ahead, Elijah. What did it say?
There was in the days of Herod,
right,
king of Judea,
right,
a certain priest named Zachariah,
right,
of the course of Abia.
The course of who?
Abia.
So now we know the priest's course. Hold that, give me 1 Chronicles 24 and just 10. We're going to hit these quickly. And then somebody else grab 1 Chronicles 27 and 1. And I just want y'all to see, and y'all, this is setting up the timeline when Christ would be born. Some people say he was born around the Passover, which we're not going to argue with. A lot of them use the scripture, he was 12 years old and they went up to the temple, it was about the Passover. But if the Passover is always in March or April and your birthday in August, you still gonna be 12 at the Passover, ain't you? Because you don't turn 13 to the next August. So that's not a solid answer to say he was born around the Passover time. It just mentioned he was 12 years old at the time. So if he was born after the Passover, normally ain't no Passovers in June or July. It ain't gonna never be that late in the year. So if he's born in June or July of that year, or up into December of that year, so to speak, come Passover time, he's still 12 until you get back to the other part, he turned 13. So yes, he could have been 12 at the time of the Passover, but that don't mean his birthday was around the Passover. We have to look diligently into the course of a beer. Now, it could be in the Passover if the course was his course is either going to be in June or his course going to be in December. One or the other. But 9 months later is going to make the birth of Christ either the Passover or it's going to be around the Feast of Tabernacles. But the 20th and 5th day of Kislev and the 20th and 5th day of December of Christmas, Satan know what he doing. We don't. He's doing a live birth versus the conception. Which one is it? Let's read some more. Where we at?
First Chronicles, which one?
First Chronicles, give me First Chronicles 24 and 10. Really quick, then give me First Chronicles 27. Y'all, we're going to hit this last one, and I'm going to give y'all homework on the mixing of kind, the wicked conception. See, because you have to understand the wicked conception. There's people out here that conceive children in wickedness. They sacrifice to Molech. First Chronicles, give me that, y'all, 24:10. How we looking, y'all? Everybody there?
I'm started
27:1. And then just skip it. And then the eighth course, Abisha. Go ahead. What it say?
because it goes down to the 7th, to the naming of the sons.
No, I just want just on the course. So because just for time. 24:10, that's what I want. Because it's matching up with the Luke 1 and 5. See, because he was a high priest.
Right.
So all I want to do is his course, the time he was in the temple. Okay. Because they had it spread over months.
Okay, right.
Go ahead, what you got? Yeah.
The 7th to Hakaz.
Where you at, verse what?
10.
Okay.
The 7th to Hakaz, the 8th to Abiyah.
So Abijah or Abiyah, he had the 8th course. Now, the 8th course. So when you look up the 8th course, it's going to tell you on this modern day calendar what time the 8th course the priest to do compared to back then to now. Right. It was between June or so. So if if Elizabeth was 6 months pregnant already, what's from June to December is how many months? Y'all math is old, ain't it? June to December? How many months is that? How many? 6 months. Y'all crazy, ain't you? Look.
6?
June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So if Mary conceived 6 months later because she was already 6 months pregnant, where would that put Mary's conception at? Elizabeth 6 months pregnant, y'all count back. Y'all having a rough time with this? Look, the course of Abiyah, if it's in June, he lay with his wife in June. 6 months later, Mary show up at their house, and she's now pregnant. So what month did Mary show up at her house, Elizabeth, if we're looking at the calendar today? December. So she conceived in December. That's why I'm asking, when they say, was Christ born in December, are you talking, I always ask people, are you talking live birth or conception? If you're talking conception, I believe you. But he was not physically birthed on December the 25th. He may have been conceived on the 20th and 5th day of Kislev. Conceived, but not birthed. So now if she conceived in December, what's 9 months later? Where that put us at? When is the Feast of Tabernacles? It's around that time, late September, October. We don't know the day nor hour, but we know it's a week-long celebration around that time. Or the course of Abiyah, if it started in December, you say if he had that 6 months, 6 months later, or put it where? June. So, and then, you got the 9 months after that, if she's in, it's going to put him at the Passover. So it's one or the other. It all depends on where your study game go to the course of Abiyah. That's the kickoff. There's no reason Luke put that in there. He had to put that in there so you would know the birth time of Messiah.
And if you read that whole Chronicles 24, it breaks down that these were the course of the orders of the sons of Aaron,
right,
in their priesthood in the times that they would do their ministering in the temple.
That's right. Now here's this 27:1. This gonna back it up, y'all. So this gonna get into how the months was broke down, so you get another study. But that's homework for y'all. See, we so much fear in the 20th and 5th day, we don't understand. That's why I had them go to the Maccabees, so you understand the day that they rededicated the temple. Don't be scared of that day. Satan don't control no days. It ain't his day. December the 25th ain't his day. It's just a day he decided to get all the money out of you and have you worship trees.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with the Most High's day.
It's pagan worship.
But he had to make it mirror something that you're used to and substitute it for different lights. They put the lights up, most people around the 24th, take them down January the 2nd, 8 days. So he's mirroring it, but you're stringing the different lights. It ain't these lights.
No, they the truth lights. Them artificial lights.
That's what we're talking about, a deceiver, y'all. But you only deceive because we're not studying. Let's finish it up, y'all. I got 2 minutes.
Chronicles, First Chronicles chapter 27, verse 1.
That's all we need, and y'all gonna read the whole chapter. Go ahead, what it say?
Now the children of Israel, after their number, to wit the chief fathers and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in any matter of the course of the courses, which came in and went out month by month throughout all the months of the year. Of every course were 20 and 4,000.
So y'all get into all the courses, what it's talking about, but it's tell you how long a man would be in there. Zechariah, you know they killed Zechariah in the temple. You know, these are some dirty dogs that we're dealing with the Romans, y'all. But this is what I want to, now jump back to the Luke, just hit me verse 24. I just want to read that, and then we finish with that, y'all, and I'm just going to get the question. I tell you what, no, y'all read all of the Luke chapter 1. Read it all, y'all, down to the 48th verse. And y'all get into why it brings up Elizabeth, and it was about a supernatural birth, but it was for a count. 6 months. In her 6th month, Mary knocked on their door. And then John the Baptist was blessed by the Holy Spirit in her womb. He started kicking at 6 months old.
In the womb.
In the womb. She said, the mother of Messiah into my house. It had to be supernatural. I know what the deal is. So the question is again, who baptized John? Because he asked the Messiah, shouldn't you be doing me?
The Messiah that already baptized him.
That's what we're talking about,
when Mary
bro.
visited Elizabeth, and he prophesied in the womb, and John heard it. That's why he leaped, because the Spirit was upon him.
Let's get right to y'all. Now, I'm going to give y'all the wickedest homework, but I'm going to just run the real questionable ones. And what I'm talking about questionable, people question the conception. Like we had a call last week, and y'all, we don't look at things like you challenging us or you doing things. These are serious questions like Esau. You know, when it talks about 2 nations in our womb, they look at the situation, you know, what happened. So the first one we're going to start with really quick, Cain. Who was Cain's dad? Because of what Adam said in it. But all Adam said was he was gone and the serpent slipped up. He was gone. Now, if it's talking about pregnancy, the scripture going to answer itself. Give me Genesis 4:1. And then it's going to settle Cain. You know, and then we're going to look at some 1 John. We ain't going to look at that now, but that's going to be in the wicked homework. It never says that he physically touched her. He spiritually touched her. He could have physically touched her. We don't know, but he didn't put seed in her because Cain should have been a giant.
But that's right. And idolatry is the beginning of spiritual fornication.
Yeah, Cain should have been a giant. Should he not?
And remember, she said she called Satan Lord.
Yeah.
So to call him Lord is idolatry.
Yeah, like Sarah called Abraham Lord. She said, "This the Lord right here, Mr. Pretty Boy." Blinged out. Look at them jewels on him. Adam, you just regular. But it wasn't so much Adam had on the breastplate, just like Satan, but Satan came with that heavenly breastplate and that glowing, and it just overpowered her, and the pretty boy got to her. Why do good girls always go after bad boys? Look, they go after them because what makes a woman go after a man that's more, or I should say, I ain't gonna say pretty, but looked at, he gets more attention than a woman. She really gonna feel left out.
But she want him with a bad boy attitude, a disruptive and disobedient
attitude. That's what they want.
Let's read this, Genesis 4:1. What it say?
And Adam knew his wife, And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Elohim.
So right here it say Adam knew Eve. This don't mean, hey Eve, how you doing? We know it wasn't that. So she conceived and bare who? Y'all, we ain't got to argue about this no more.
act.
We ain't got to argue about his lineage, because his lineage, when you get into Genesis 5, his lineage go back, when you start running his lineage, and his lineage is in here, it goes back to Adam. It don't go back to Satan. It don't say who was the son of Satan.
It was the act that made him evil.
It was and look,
That's what fell on him.
his heart, because his mama wanted him to be from somebody else. A woman can be with her husband and picture him as Denzel or any other pretty boy while conception is taking place. She's hoping he look like that versus Earl, who got that disfigurement. I'm talking about one nostril bigger than the other one. She like, no, I can't have that. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead. But hold it, y'all. So that's Genesis 4. Give me Judges 19 and 1. And really quickly, y'all, I just got these two. We're going to run these one. Give me Judges 19 and 1 and 1 Kings 3:16. Give me them two. And y'all, this is what we talk about when we talk about a harlot being punished. We got to be careful with this term and why it was given to women. There's a incident that can happen to you, and then there's a practice. But what we have to do is make sure that when we say a harlot, there has to be a blood sacrifice for it to be transgression of the law. It has to be somebody put to death for it. And the only time you see somebody punished in the act of harlotry is when they were married and played the harlot. Because they was going to put Tamar down, remember? They said she has played the harlot. But Judah said, no, she ain't, because I blew it. I blew that one. I blew that one. And the only other one, Proverbs 7, what she say? For the who is gone? The goodman is gone and will not return to the appointed day. He ain't going to be back to next Thursday. Come on in. She catch the simple one. So she's playing the harlot like we played the harlot against Most High. But he took us back, didn't he? Yep. Jeremiah 3, he say, I'm married to y'all. And he said, the 10 tribes y'all done went and played the harlot, and Judah, treacherous Judah. You seen him and you gonna do worse.
Top dog.
Where we at?
Judges 19.
Hit that.
Verse 1.
Judges 19 and 1. What it say?
And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning in the side of the Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine of the Bethlehem.
No, I didn't want Judges 19. I'm sorry, y'all. Judges 11. That ain't what I want. That's when Dan or Benjamin went crazy. There was almost going to be one tribe cast out. I want Judges 11 and 1. I'm looking at it right there, Elijah, all day. What that say? Judges 19. I wrote that wrong. Okay. Let me change it myself. Go ahead. 11 and 1.
Now,
what it say?
Jephthah the Gileadite was a man of valor.
Mighty man of valor. And he started over.
Okay. Now
you got an educator in the house.
Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot.
Who was he the son of?
A harlot. And Gileadite begat Jephthah.
So what we're talking about, this man, his mother was a harlot. What we're talking about is she had a baby and they weren't married. See, that title comes on a woman automatically. This is why it was so important and why the priest told you married her in stealth. See, because that puts a whole nother problem on a woman, because at that point, if he decides to leave her, now a virgin is just ruined. So what title you got to give her? She didn't have sex and she ain't got no protection. So they just say harlot. Is it bad all the time? Not in these cases, because that's what men were doing. And these Negroes really doing it, running this polygamy game. They hitting them and leaving them. And then so what that's doing but making them a harlot.
That's why it's called a game.
That's why it's called a game. So, but y'all get down into that. Now, and when y'all get over to verse 29, give me verse 29 of what that say.
Verse 29.
Yeah.
It say, then the spirit of the Elohim came unto Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Elohim and said, if thou shalt withal fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, Then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Elohim's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
He gonna offer it up for what?
A burnt offering.
See, now this is a human being that came out of there. So he said, is this child sacrifice? No, because you're gonna see all he did, a burnt sacrifice just meant I'm gonna give her as a burnt offering, a live individual to the temple. And guess who the first one came out the door? It was his only daughter. But you see, what I want y'all to see is that conception by that harlot produced a mighty man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So how bad was his mama? All his mama did was probably got tricked and had a baby. Now she's what we got running through Israel is called single what?
Parent.
Mothers. But that title is coming with them. But I know it's bad because the Bible is set up from the beginning. Man, husband, and wife. That's the only title. You either that, or if you had sex, it puts you on the title of harlot until you get married. Because remember Judges 14, Samson, he started off, he married a what?
Harlot.
Had the 7-day feast. She's not a harlot no more.
She was a harlot of the Philistines.
She had sex with other men, but when he married her, that took her out of that game. So now she gets the title of wife. It changed her title. So hold that, give me that 1 Kings, 3 and 16. Give me that quick, y'all. We got a few more and we're going to get on out of here. And I'm going to give y'all homework on the wicked conceptions, y'all. But this is what we're talking about. Conception. Is conception bad? These are just questionable calls. Go ahead.
1 Kings
3 and 16. What it say?
3 and 16.
And this is Solomon splitting the baby. Go ahead.
Then came there 2 women that were harlots.
That were what?
Harlots. Unto the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in the house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house.
Now look here. We got 2 women. And both of them had babies. Where the daddy?
Right.
Where is the daddy? Because 2 harlots came out. That means they don't have husbands. They got children. They say we both dwelling together. So somebody done stacked some women up in some houses and got both of them pregnant. Now they gone. Where the man at court? Go ahead, what else to say?
18, and it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. And she
rolled over on me. Go ahead.
And she rose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept.
Now think about this. Now, both them babies had to look alike. So it probably was the same daddy here. Look, how you gonna switch a baby? Look, now you know this woman's baby, her daddy, that baby's daddy head as big as Barry Bonds. And then this one like here, and then this baby got a water head. Them babies looked alike to switch them out like that. So it's probably the same daddy. It wasn't 2 different daddies. Because you could tell, now wait a minute. That's Earl's baby. Look at the head on that baby.
That's Jughead baby.
Go Jughead baby. Go ahead. Where we at?
Verse 21 again. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead.
It was what?
Dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, the one said, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other said, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me the sword.
No, he finna settle the battle because you're in court. Yes, now, where the daddy at in court about it? You think, hey, get on up there, man. Solomon finna, man, he's judging your woman about that baby. I want them to know that's my baby. Let them do what they gonna do. Whew, my wife don't know nothing about that baby.
It just goes to show you nothing's new in Israel.
Where the man at in this court situation? Is the man even asked about in this situation? Let's see what else he said.
Verse 24. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and the half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my Elohim, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof.
So Solomon settled that matter right there. He said, it's the bomber. Look, she said, give it to the other lady before you kill it. The other one said, you can split it for all I care, because she knew hers was dead. See, it's just like the thief on the cross. The one told Messiah, he like, look, we up here for what we done. The other man, he can't even save himself. What we up here for? He like, look, partner, me and you know we jack artists and we steal. That's why we up here. But he ain't done nothing.
Innocent, man.
Will you remember me in my temple? And when you get to your prayer, he said, this day you in paradise. See, now the other boy didn't want it to be pulled down and know he up there for thief. And all he was going to do is get down and go back to jacking again.
Jacking and still.
So y'all, let's finish the last one right here, Esau, because the question came up about Esau. Give me Genesis 27:1, and then grab me Romans 9:9 and 10. I'm gonna give y'all homework on the last two of those. Genesis 27:1, and we just gonna hit the one-liner. Romans 9:9, verse 9 and 9. In verse 10. So just give me them really quickly, y'all, and we're going to see about Esau, because the question was asked because two nations was in her womb. Did she have sex with another man besides Isaac?
Genesis.
Was it super fecundation? That's a word. Or super fetation? A woman getting pregnant by two different men and have twins. It's called super fetation. Or superfundation. They'll be right together. But it'll tell you, both ovaries she dropped to and conceived by both men. You think it can't happen? Or you gotta Google it right now. German woman has baby by her husband and black soldier, American soldier that's over there. Came out black and white. Two different men. Twins. Let's read some more. Where we at?
Genesis chapter 27, verse 1.
That's all I need. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son.
What did he call him? His what?
Eldest son. And said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I.
So he clearly knows that this is his conceived son. Now give me back right there. Y'all can read on down about the blessed. Romans 9, 9 and 10. What that say?
Romans 9.
Yeah, I'm gonna give y'all homework on everything else, y'all. We're gonna close on out. I hate that they
Verse 10.
Did I talk long today? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Romans 9 and 10 says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac.
Who she conceived by?
Isaac. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Elohim according to the election might stand.
Might stand. See, the children haven't done nothing either, so you can't put wickedness on Esau at his conception. Look, children ain't got nothing to do with these two nations.
Innocent.
This is making sure Elohim, they said they're both innocent. So you can't make Esau born wicked. You cannot. And it said, who was he conceived by? Conceived even by who?
It say, for the children being not yet born.
I'm about 9 again.
Okay, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac.
By two.
By one.
By three.
By one.
By one. So this clears up, was Esau's Isaac natural born son? Yes, he was. But the purpose of the law was for a different situation. Just like that, y'all, I just want to read that so y'all get the understanding of both them. Now, the homework on the last two questionable is Ishmael. Is he conceived bad? No, because he was conceived by Abraham's his wife. It just happened to be his second wife.
Yeah.
Y'all get into some Genesis 16:23 and Genesis 16:1-5, and you're gonna see the same thing, that it was a righteous conception. So we're not to look at Ishmael conception as being born because he's getting a blessing. He was blessed with 12 princesses. Esau blessed with 12 or 13 princes. And Jacob had how many tribes? When you look at Genesis 36, you see the dukes and the tamers, 12 tribes. Esau,
12 dukes.
and 12 dukes and
12
tamers.
princes and 12 tribes.
So y'all, and look, the boy wrote the book, the 13th tribe, you know, because he know what the deal was. So y'all read that about Ishmael, that was a righteous conception. And then y'all read about David, because the question gonna be, was that conception and that child, should that child been put to death? Y'all get to Matthew 1 and 6, Psalm 41. No, Psalm 51, I'm sorry. Matthew 1 and 6, Psalm 51, and Romans 1 and 3, and you'll understand exactly what David is saying. He never said he was born in iniquity. He said, I was shapen in iniquity. The flesh that was formed around me is from iniquity from the garden. But I was not born a sinner, because that's transgression of the law. A baby, what he doing? Biting on her umbilical cord in there? Hate you, mama. Then I'm gonna kick her really good. I'm gonna wait till she fall asleep, then I'm gonna start kicking like a madman. No, was that it? No, that wasn't it. So we need to understand the difference. And when you say it's born in sin, and Messiah keep using innocence. Don't twist the scripture up. Y'all, so that's on them too. Y'all read that. And why I want to read Matthew 1 and 6, it goes back to about Uriah, David, and Bathsheba, but it says who was the wife of Uriah, but now she's David's wife, because David cleaned up his property. Who he committed trouble with, he married her and took over responsibility for her. He just didn't hit and run on about that, and the man dead. He like, I had to take off for that responsibility. I got to marry you.
He became her covering.
Became her covering, even though he did that crime. He had to live with that crime, and Psalm 51 is what he's pouring his heart out to the Most High about that crime. That's what Psalm 51 is. Now, these are the wicked conceptions. Y'all do this for homework. Wicked conception, Genesis 6, the fallen angels with the daughters of men. Enoch 14 and 15, Enoch chapter 14 and 15, get into the spirits of those. The flesh didn't cross over in the flood, but the spirits of the offspring of the giants did. Still here. And Jasher 61, you're going to see in there a son of Esau, Zepho, killed a chimera. It was a half man and half beast, so that was a wicked conception.
In the cave.
He killed him in the cave. It was eating up everybody's cattle and stuff. And y'all, and that's what they doing right now, y'all. They mixing human seed. Daniel chapter 2, verse 3 and 4 talks about the mixing of kinds. And then 1 John 3 and 12 is what a lot of people try to use and say Cain was Satan's son. No, he was his spiritual son. It was the active son, because he said if you do wrong, you are of the devil. So that means everybody in this room is of the devil then, if you do wrong.
Shaping in iniquity.
So what we're talking about is practicing wickedness. And then back that up with Leviticus 18:23, where it says if a man lay down with a beast and it conceived, y'all have to understand it's wickedness, y'all. It's wickedness at a high level, y'all. And these things existed on earth. They never can reproduce. They're like a mule. A mule is a product of a donkey and a horse. But a mule is sterile. Can't reproduce. They're two different kinds. Yeah, they both are like the horse, but they're two different kinds. And see, they'll pull unequally. You can't have a mule and an oxen pulling. One leg is shorter than the other.
One stronger than the other.
It's like having on a platform and a house shoe. And you talking about electric slide, and it's going to be a problem.
Well, you going to be like you electric slide.
Right.
What was that Daniel you said for homework?
Daniel chapter 2, verse 3 and 4, that's on the wicked side of the mixing. And y'all, what we're talking about is wicked conception, y'all. So this whole class today was understanding conception to be made pregnant? And does it have any effect on the offspring? That's why I brought up the Judges 11, because that boy's mother was a harlot, but his daddy could have been promising his mom everything, and we're going to have the biggest wedding you going to ever see, almost like Grady's auntie that came to visit Fred Grady and Lamont, and she kept talking about she going to fix them a big old breakfast in the morning, but every time she got up, her back was hurting. So y'all, just in that same manner, a man can promise a woman everything. The biggest wedding St. Louis gonna ever see. We gonna do it in front of the arch. And there she go into the chamber with him, and now she's pregnant. And guess what? He say, I'm going to get a loaf of bread and ain't been seen in 15 years.
Oh, I just seen that on the paternity court yesterday.
Yeah, so this is what we talking about, men running off. But the title is still there because when a man come and look, he say, well, do she have a husband? She got a child? What a husband? She never been married. Y'all, it's not as bad as it seems, only unless it's practiced, but they can't call you wife because you don't have any protection. And these Negroes running around here with these things on it, passing them on emails. You're not married, women. Don't fool yourself. You need to make it public. And what we're not talking about, everybody, you got to have a big old expensive wedding. You can get a bread twist tie and put it on her finger. And you can have your mother and her mother there, and y'all sign that paperwork, because guess what? Every Bible, just about every Bible got this right here, and you can take this to the courthouse. What'd that say right there, y'all? What'd that say? Do you see witnesses on there? Y'all see that? Take that to the courthouse. They will notarize it. And it could be just two witnesses like this. Man, I'm about to do it, man. This woman who I want to be with. Man, can y'all witness for me?
Yeah. Just that simple.
The wife and I got married at the courthouse like a lot of y'all did. Elijah performed the ceremony. So y'all, the state ain't taking over this. Why ain't the state taking over your food stamps? Why ain't the state taking over your Section 8?
Your food stamps.
Why does the state only come in when it comes down to the receipt of your possession? So you call her.
Or your
Not your responsibility. Y'all, with that, we're going to close out. What they saying out there, too, bad?
No, they ain't saying nothing.
Okay.
And with all y'all getting, hope
about
y'all
8 minutes later, from what I said.
No, they say AZ look like Snoop Dogg.
No,
Yeah,
I was just saying
You know what?
We got dog put on there.
Right, yes, sir.
Dog pound word.
Yeah.
Brother Derek, even though they're trying to take the people's food stamps, right?
Yeah, Trump supposed to be doing it in 7 months.
Yep, she was.
So that program of hustling the government is about to be out the window, y'all. Your responsibility coming back, you ain't made to hustle the government. They ain't gonna keep playing for your after midnight activities. They warning you up front. What you got said?
Give us some.
We'll get this closing sign with the Most High's permission in the name of His only begotten Son. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Psalms 24. The earth is the Lord, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he had founded upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Elohim? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that had clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto man, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessings from the Elohim, and righteousness from the power of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob, Selah.
Selah.
Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Elohim strong and mighty.
Yes.
The Elohim mighty in battle.
Yes.
Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Elohim of hosts.
Yes, sir.
He is the King of glory. Selah.
Selah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Selah. Thank y'all. All at one Worldwide Assembly. If y'all got a shekel or two, we greatly appreciate it. And I want to thank all of our worldwide family that's contributed to this ministry. Thank y'all very much. Y'all just don't know how important that is and how much that keeps us going. Just want to thank all y'all out there on the East Coast, West Coast. Y'all know who we're talking about. Y'all know who y'all
Across
are.
the waters.
Yes, sir.
All around the four corners of the earth.
Yes.
Shalom.
Yes, sir.
Four up.